to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
It's really been hitting me lately, and hitting me hard, really coming home, that the status quo in the United States is the rapid descent into total lawlessness by select elite groups who are now officially above the law and who have high-tech systems of propaganda and manipulation to where the public is aware of the tyranny, but they feel like they're all alone and basically adapt to being slaves. And I was on Mancow Muller's radio show today, like I am pretty much every Wednesday and Thursday I come on, about twice a week now. And he was rattling off all these examples of tyranny and saying Obama's become a dictator, which is stating the obvious. But it was listening to someone else say it, I just kept thinking, what am I doing still in this country? People always ask, why did the Jews and others stay in Nazi Germany? And I was just sitting there this morning while he was ranting for about 5 minutes. He's even worse than I am about interrupting people. That's why he's a lovable character. But the point is that my mind was clear and calm because I wasn't on air myself. It's like you lose half your IQ once you're on air because you're having to think about the camera and the microphone and what's going on and guests that are coming up and what's happening and phone numbers and all the clutter of the news that pretty much gets in the way almost as minutia of the fact that history 100% is repeating itself and going on a trajectory that is so premeditatedly destructive that I cannot believe the establishment is consciously doing this. They have decided to be pure evil, and they have decided to just go with total authoritarianism and poisoning the food, the water. I mean, it's all real. Everything we've talked about has been wrong. And by that, it's worse than we said. We've been incredibly accurate to a point and then wrong after that about just how bad these people are and how it's all planned out at the top. And then they readjust things as they roll forward. And once you study this in depth for a long time, then it becomes absolutely clear how they're operating, and then years later it comes out and we're totally right. So I've been totally right to a point, but then it's been so much worse than even I could imagine of the establishment. And I know I got a lot of news. I mean, I mainly just get up here and marvel now because Obama and the executive branch, it doesn't mean Obama the person, but Obama the brand name, Obama the front man, Obama the divider, Obama, everything is about the skin color, the opposite of what Reverend Martin Luther King said. Obama is the great globalist wedge worldwide to sell the globalist empire in the name of America as we go bankrupt, as the system absolutely butchers our way of life, butchers our prosperity, and prepares us for total bondage. Obama, the figurehead, has turned the executive branch officially into a dictatorship. And all the trappings, if you judge tyranny by a meal that's been laid out on the table, this is the greatest feast I have ever imagined or heard of. Thousands of dishes steaming with poison, just so much corruption, so many different corporations and teams working on deception, fraud, lies, scams, counterfeit currencies, counterfeit systems. It just boggles the mind. This is evil unleashed. We're going to break it all down with huge breaking news straight ahead. In the last 50 years, iodine has been phased out of our staple foods and replaced with the halogen bromine, a practice now banned in nations around the world. Guess what else is in the halogen family? Fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here. In 1924, the federal government did the right thing and encouraged salt producers to add iodine. It's the good halogen on the periodic table. And the results are on record. Reports documented a 15-point IQ increase in areas that had previously been deficient in iodine. Bottom line, iodine is important. Unbound, clean, in a glycerin base. Nascent iodine was the answer for myself and my family. You will find Survival Shield Nascent Iodine exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWars Life Survival Shield Nascent Iodine isn't just for emergencies. I take it every day. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Alex Jones here with a message to fellow freedom lovers. The prognosis for the entire planetary economic system runs from bad to worse. The globalist model is to shut down societies and starve patriots out until they acquiesce to the global takeover. That's why we've assembled the most vital and important preparedness items at InfoWarsShop.com. These are items that I did research on, that I personally use. We've got the Life Straw, so you can turn fetid water into safe water anywhere you go. The K-Tor hand crank generator to charge up key equipment during power outages or out in the field. Strategic Relocation, 3rd edition by Joel Skousen. When Disaster Strikes by Matthew Stein. ThyroSafe, used by Homeland Security to protect yourself during any radiological event. Hand crank shortwave AM/FM radios. Everything that we've researched and found to be the best is available at InfoWarsShop.com, and your purchase makes our InfoWar possible. We're getting prepared. Are you? InfoWarsShop.com. Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filters today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
If you'll remember, back in January of this year, about 11 months ago, I was inside CNN headquarters there in New York City, and there was evidence of rot, decay, demoralization, and collapse everywhere. And I came on air and I said, CNN, as it has been known, is imploding, is collapsing. You notice now they're announcing they're basically going to paid programming with paid fake infomercial news that is fully funded by product placement. And no one will tell you, it's in the fine print, it was in the news yesterday and last week, that CNN, you can just type in CNN going to product placement news, and you'll get mainline trade publications where it's going to be like infomercials and Discovery Channel and History Channel wrapped in with corporately sponsored fake news. ABC, NBC, CBS, the London Guardian, which is actually a very journalistic outfit in many respects, they have underwritten on articles, about a third of them, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, that Warren Buffett's involved in. So already the messages literally off the teleprompter are paid for by IBM, by Microsoft, by Apple, by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, total social engineering. But because no one's watching it anymore, Obama is now saying, I'm not even going to have press conferences, really, or if I do, we're not going to have press pool there, and you can't ask questions. We'll have basically government employees ask questions, just as FEMA got caught doing 10 years ago, and again last year. Fake reporters, ladies and gentlemen. They've come out really about 5 years ago, but they declassified it last year. Most of the news you already see, I want to give you a little inside scoop, is written by think tanks, then passed through the CIA, and then put through computer programs that put fake reporter nom de plume pen names on them, and then they re-scramble it so that bots and systems can't tell that it's plagiarized. So there it is. CNN's Jeff Zucker reveals plans to change from news network into place with attitude. That's how the Democratic Front Group puts it. But again, ladies and gentlemen, this is what they're doing. And this was all planned. They're getting rid of journalism entirely. First, they bought off journalism, corrupted it. Now they're getting rid of it entirely. When it's too late, and the CNN and MSNBC authoritarian traitors are literally freaking out as they get their pay cut or they get their pink slips. And then they're going to come in with the fairness doctrine on talk radio. That's being announced. And they're going to come in and using fake copyright rules and taxes and shut down the real media. So the war is on. It's an info war. It's happening right now, and they're coming after us behind the scenes across the board. That's why you'll see Patriot meetings on C-SPAN or whatever, and they'll at the end say, and whatever you do, don't listen to Jones, he's disinfo, with no proof. And you'll turn on MSNBC, and they'll say, deeply racist, behind terror bombings. People say, why haven't they killed me yet? Mancow was asking me that this morning. Well, they're killing my name. They are literally calling me a racist and a terrorist with no evidence. They're having operatives in different liberty movement organizations, which I expect. It doesn't hurt me. I'm ready to die for this, folks. I mean, I know it's in the cards big time. They might just set me up or kill me. I don't lose when that happens. I did this willfully. I want that on record. You will not take my victory from me one way or the other. It's on record. I know the course I've steered. Into the flak storm, over the target, on purpose. The enemy's attacks are my guiding light, my North Star. I go into the dragon's fire. I go into the fiery furnace. I go into the lion's den willfully, consciously, because it's the only course out of this system. I don't do it because I want to. I do it because I have to, because I know there is no other course but in, through, and beyond. I just want to point that out because I don't even monitor it, but it's just flooding out. All the operatives are decloaking, opening fire. And it's going to get much, much worse, ladies and gentlemen, because we have the zeitgeist by the will of God. We have people awakening to the truth. We know the enemy program. We've not been lazy. We've studied it. And now everyone's seeing it manifest exactly as we told you it would manifest. And so now the real attack upon everyone. It's going to be attacks on Infowars.com. It's going to be attacks on places like WorldNetDaily.com, DrudgeReport.com. There's going to be a massive attacks on Rand Paul, Ted Cruz. And it's not that any of us are perfect. We're just men. But the globalists have our phones tapped. The globalists track what we do. The globalists know we're for real. Anyone for real is going to be attacked. You have to understand that, ladies and gentlemen. Because we're here saying Bill of Rights, Constitution, unity, restore the Republic, restore due process, restore the branches of government, restore the Republic. There's been a revolution by offshore corporations to fully seize the federal government and set up a scientific, multi-layered national stabilization force, as Rand Corporation calls it, that is a martial law grid on its face. They had hearings 2 days ago in Congress, and the video is up on Infowars.com right now. Michael Cannon, Cato Institute's Director of Health Policy Studies, testified before a congressional committee about the dangers of the president's legal behavior and went on to say that the president is becoming a dictator and endangering an overthrow of the government. Now, let's be clear. The power structure that funds the Republican leadership and the Democratic leadership that's trying to kill the Libertarian Tea Party because it's the only real opposition right now. The entire power structure is lined up against us, full power, open fire, blasting us right now. You understand that? As America collapses, as the police state marches out, as they shut down everything, as they devalue the dollar, as they try to open the borders completely, America is literally on fire, burning down right now. It is Alamo level, fall of the Alamo collapse, okay? You need to understand that. And we're just desperately trying to have a future for our children, just saying, Bill of Rights, Constitution, they're bankrupting us by design. And it's just, we're under total attack, okay? I'm just telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, that's what this is. It's all lining up for spectacular wars, spectacular terrorist attacks, real and staged, spectacular political assassinations, spectacular. No one should be bored right now. I mean, what you see lining up, but see, folks never recognize history while it's happening. People look back and go, how did they put up with that? 9 times out of 10, or really about 98% of the time, really, folks have to go through this, and I grieve that we're going to have to go through this, but at least we've got to jump on them historically that people might wake up in the middle of it. Because people hardly ever wake up before the collapse. They usually wake up after or during, but if we've got such a jump on the globalists and their program, their methodology, their mindset, their program, what makes them tick, we know the enemy, and we've emergency broadcast to the military, police, and everybody. And it's not even that the military and police are goody two-shoes on average. It's that they are on the inside. They know this stuff's happening. They know I'm accurate because they're seeing it from the inside. And this program helps them break compartmentalization to see the larger picture. Then they can go verify, even give us more intel. And it's a maximizing, lensing, amplifying effect of understanding. We have the enemy program broken down. And then we can also then, once we understand it, from observing it, we can then go research the enemy, and it's always public. We observe, extrapolate the program, and then later find globalist documents that are word for word our analysis, because historically they run the same programs, only augmented with a new modern twist to it. So we know the entire game plan. We don't know exactly how they're going to hit, when they're going to hit, the exact play-by-play, but we know what this team does. We know who their coaches are. We know what their strategies are. We know what their game plans are. We know where they're going, what they're doing. And if you, as a new listener, understood how evil they were, you would not be afraid. You would be scrambling in absolute survival combat mode right now, ladies and gentlemen, because we are under the food, the water, everything's being poisoned. They are savaging the culture. They are trying to ruin our children. They are attacking the founders. They are attacking Christianity. They are attacking everything. I mean, we are literally facing the most pure evil. And I've studied history, ladies and gentlemen. There has never been anything like this, okay? It's a lot bigger than Obama. He's just one little zit, popping up on the surface. He's just their front man. And my guts are just on fire with the understanding of how real this is. And I want to explain something to people. You can decide to serve this New World Order out of fear or out of a power trip or out of reflected glory, like a moth to flame. Let me explain something. You are targeted by it. You are being destroyed by it. You are being used by it. It is absolutely betrayal. The essence of this is betrayal. The essence of this is getting into evil, getting into totally giving yourself over to it in a satanic trance. That is the only way to describe it, is channeling Satan. The New World Order is literally channeling hell on earth and trying to manifest it. The end game is total death and destruction with robots inheriting the earth and the elite becoming gods. Now, can you make a deal with that? We're going to come back with all the news straight ahead. It's unbelievable how much important news there is. But we are at a historic crossroads right now where dictatorship is open. Alex Jones here. And I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today.
Social unrest, food shortages, political turmoil, EMPs, earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, fires, riots, flooding. It's not a matter of if, but when. What if it happened right now? Would you have the supplies to survive off the grid? OffTheGrid.com is the place to go for the widest selection of survival supplies at rock-bottom prices. Head over to OffTheGrid.com for survival kits, first aid supplies, dried food, water filters and purifiers, gas masks, solar and crank radios, solar generators, ammo, knives, stun guns, pepper sprays, packs and bags, fire starters, a library of books, and a whole lot more. Get free same-day shipping on all orders over $75. Enter promo code RADIO at checkout and receive an additional 5% discount off our already lowest in the industry prices. OffTheGrid.com, proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with you as we protect our Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
So it's off to Grandma's house for the holidays, eh? That's great. But while you're going over the river and through the woods, professional burglars are choosing easy targets to break into. Don't be an easy target. Plug in Fake TV. Fool criminals into believing someone's home at your house watching TV. Fake TV works a bit like a light on a timer, but Fake TV is far more convincing. Fake TV plugs into any outlet and simulates the light and colors of a real TV. Burglars will likely move on to easier targets and leave your house alone. Fake TV costs less than a month of most alarm monitoring plans and makes a great Christmas gift. Or it's perfect if you're traveling over the holidays or anytime. Order your Fake TV by calling 877-5-FAKE-TV or go to faketv.com. That's 877-532-5388 or faketv.com. Fake TV, the burglar deterrent.
The challenge, creating delicious GMO-free foods with a 25-year shelf life. The solution, Numana Foods, a pioneer in healthy, storable foods. Our meals are GMO and gluten-free, contain no MSG aspartame or high fructose corn syrup, and we never use chemicals or preservatives. Just good, healthy food at great prices. Call us today at 888-597-0775 or visit GMOFreeFoodStorage.com. That's GMOFreeFoodStorage.com.
Did you know that organic sulfur can cleanse and defend your body against the poisons we're exposed to each day? Organic sulfur crystals from SulfurDefense.com help by forcing oxygen and nutrition into your cells while eliminating heavy metals, contaminants, and damaging radiation. Defend yourself and family from toxic assault with one of the most critical and essential minerals available today. Order online at SulfurDefense.com. That's SulfurDefense.com or call 800-593-6273.
Now, John Bound, who works on directing the nightly news and on the radio show, is back there in his office saying, Alex, it's not just the Cato Institute testifying to Congress that the country's becoming a dictatorship of the executive branch controlled by offshore interest. He's got all these clips of Congress people, lawyers, advisors, I mean, it's now being debated, finally, and we've been hammering the obvious. We don't deserve credit here. You're like if you were in Colorado and you opened up your tent that was a grizzly bear, you know, digging through your stuff, you better lay down and act dead. It's not like I'm a genius because I look out the tent and there's a grizzly bear right there. I mean, that's a grizzly bear. This is tyranny. I mean, it's 2 + 2 = 4. But I forgot, under Common Core, they teach 2 + 2 = 5. And that daddies and mommies are bad. Again, it's so over the top that that's where they get us, is that they just do it with a straight face. They move forward. As they arm to the teeth against us, they persecute gun owners. It's happening all over the country. Legal gun owners are just being arrested everywhere, taken to jail. Charged with fake charges. Juries are convicting them. I've got stacks of news on that today. I mean, it is getting Twilight Zone, folks, because never before have so many people just been watching television. Even the people that are awake to what's going on partially are still like spectators. They just let things happen to them. They just don't stand up for their neighbors. They don't take violations of their liberties personal. They have a broken spirit. And the system can't believe what it's gotten away with. So, of course, they just took 80% of the pension funds from folks in Detroit. And, of course, they're announcing that for other cities. There's not going to be anything when the globalists are done, ladies and gentlemen. This has all been done in other countries over and over again. They're following a program. And the president has the IRS and the FBI persecuting gun groups, libertarian groups, Christian groups, pro-life groups, fast and furious, Benghazi, all the Solyndra scam deals, the persecution of the media, the illegal NSA spying, the president saying NATO is over our military and Congress putting up with it, the president legalizing all the illegals by fiat, the president shutting down power plants not owned by General Electric, doubling power prices in many areas of the country. It's all total mafia. Total dictatorship, and it doesn't mean he won't leave. He's like shark teeth. When they've used those up, they break away and other ones move forward. Obama will leave office in a couple years, I think. They were thinking about trying to make him a dictator, but the sales job didn't work. So they'll bring in Chris Christie or somebody else. And it'll be all a new gimmick, and then the whole program just rolls forward. Where the office has been turned into the nexus point of the Bilderberg Group and the CFR to literally gut this country. Here is one of the head directors of the Cato Institute in Congress breaking down that we're in danger of the government being overthrown. It's been overthrown. That's why I say our revolution is not a revolution. It is a restoration, a re-upload of the Republic. Declaration of Independence says if a government becomes destructive of the aims of liberty and freedom, it's our right and duty to reform the government, to overthrow it. Well, we want America back. So we remove the foreign occupiers and re-upload the Republic. We reboot the system. And we bring to justice the criminals. Let's go to a part of this clip. Here it is.
Maybe Mr. Lazarus knows better than I do how many bombs the president has to drop without congressional authorization before that becomes war. I don't know the actual number. But I think what Mr. King was getting at is, you know, there is one last thing to which the people can resort if the government does not respect the restraints that the Constitution places on the government. Abraham Lincoln talked about our right to alter our government, or a revolutionary right to overthrow it. And that is certainly something that no one wants to contemplate. But as I mentioned in my written and my delivered testimony, if the people come to believe that the government is no longer constrained by the laws, and they will conclude that neither are they. That is why this is a very, very dangerous sort of thing for a president to do, to wantonly ignore the laws, to try to impose obligations on people that the legislature did not approve. An excellent conclusion. Thank you, Mr.
That's
Chairman.
right, and it's the only conclusion, and it's not a dangerous precedent. We crossed that decades ago. We are now under a dictatorship. The government has a 6% approval rating, according to Gallup. I've never heard of a government that had 94% of people against it. Even hardcore dictatorships usually have 20-30% support by the idiots that work in the system. I mean, everyone in the government I know, I keep saying the government's a problem. The government people actually are more awake than the general public. I don't even know what to say. I mean, I just want to live in a free country again. I don't want to be totally bankrupted to make me a political slave. They're screwing things up on purpose. Come on, folks. We got to turn this around.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Alex Jones here, and I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today. Why does the United States spend the largest percentage of GDP in the world on healthcare? Why do we have the highest cancer rates on the planet, the highest rates of diabetes, autism, and every other major disease? It all comes down to one thing. We are what we eat. Our food is devoid of nutrition and processed with poisons and additives. Our water is filled with toxic poisons and big pharma runoff. All of this has been engineered by design. We can turn the tide against the eugenicist by giving ourselves the nutrients our body desperately needs. To learn more, visit InfoWarsHealth.com. The site is literally packed with audio and video featuring top health professionals who don't bow down to big pharma. The fight against the New World Order starts with you, and you can't stand against the machine if you're sick, tired, and obese. When you visit InfoWarsHealth.com, be sure and check out the catalog with nearly 400 life-changing products, and get free shipping when you sign up for AutoShip.
Strategic relocation is a systematic way to think strategically in the future about how do I safeguard.
Renowned author and expert Joel Skousen.
The U.S. isn't building huge underground bases and bunkers because of some terrorist threat. They know that a massive nuclear attack is coming. They want that attack to come.
Joel Skousen is renowned as one of the world's foremost experts in strategic relocation and the securing of your home.
What I tell people is that you do have time. We talk about natural disasters, the health environment. We talk about pollution, the water quality. My personal experience about being in every one of these states, most people won't even be ready and won't be able to get out of town because there'll be absolute panic.
There is no preparedness without strategy. This Christmas, give the gift of preparedness. Strategic Relocation, the film, with Joel Skousen and Alex Jones. Available only at InfoWarsShop.com or by calling 888-253-3139.
What's his name?
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly. I order all those assembled to immediately disperse.
It's a military mission in North St. Louis. Heavily armored vehicles are rolling into town.
And don't be alarmed if you see those over the next 7 days rolling through your neighborhood.
If you see military helicopters flying low over Minneapolis, do not be alarmed.
Guns will be taken. No one will be able to be armed. We will take all weapons.
Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in.
Just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way.
Enough. 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 Enough.
The Department of Homeland Security is apparently on a huge ammo buying spree.
It comes out to like 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition.
And as KSLA News 12 Jeff Farrell discovered, the clergy would help the government with potentially their biggest problem, us.
So part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities.
If you got a business, that you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
Mercury-containing vaccines may help, not harm kids, according to 2 new studies in the journal Pediatrics.
Black Hawk choppers soaring through the night sky, but this is only a drill.
Heavily armed officers in Watertown search for the suspect, house to house.
It's a joint military training exercise involving local police, also military. In your apartment!
I am in my apartment, sir.
Go back inside right now!
I am inside. I have 2 words for you. Predator drones. You will never see it coming.
The dramatic scene played out in front of our cameras. Parents grabbing their children and running after spending the night hunkering in their houses and then finding themselves face to face with the muzzle of a SWAT officer's rifle.
They let them in the area. They told them they could come in, and now they're coming in like they're trespassers, punching and shoving people.
We're not turning our guns in, and we're not running, and we're not backing down. If you want them, come and take them.
We are on the march. The Empire is on the run. Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
This is the heart of 1776.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back live. Let me tell you who's coming up today. Dr. Group will be in studio with us on a whole bunch of breaking news about the fluoride and other things they're putting in the water and people fighting back and ways to mitigate that. And then it's a double doctor day. We're going to have the acclaimed brain surgeon and just super expert, Dr. Russell Blaylock, will be joining us coming up today. So you definitely do not want to miss any of that. Guys, will you give me Dr. Group's bio? Because I don't have that here. Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the intro that Darren McBreen and I put together that we just brought you. And that's only a small smattering of the classical tyranny that we see in the news as the media follows the script for illegal checkpoints, military pointing guns at people. This is the preparation for when they really drop the hammer on everybody. When they take your pension fund, public and private, and they're going to take about 30 to 40% generally is what they do in other countries of your private pension fund first. And then a couple years later, they'll take another 30, 40%. You'll end up with maybe 20% when they're done. And then, just like Detroit, they just took 80% in one fell swoop. In fact, they think we're so broke back, I mean, using the NFL to push Obamacare and gun bans now and political correctness as well. They might just take everything. I mean, I don't know. I mean, other countries, they fight back a little bit. So maybe I shouldn't follow what they've done in other nations. But vaporized is the headline on Infowars.com. Detroit obliterates retirement funds, 80% cuts to pensioners. This is going to affect everyone. Yeah, all the government folks that have moved to Texas out of the other states that have collapsed under the New World Order. I can't tell you how many retired police and firefighters and city managers and you name it live out where I live out in the hill country. And they're all awake, they're all freaked out, and they all also know you're not going to have your money soon. Just, okay? And it's because, again, it's not because it's even unfeasible to actually pay the pensions. And some of them are exorbitant. A lot of them aren't. It's that they created a $250 billion of fake derivatives as a black hole. They're not even propping them up. They've already been triaged to suck off all the wealth. And they tell the cops and bureaucrats and IRS, go shake people down, get more money, or you're not going to get your pension. You're never going to get any of it unless we defeat the New World Order. Have you figured that out yet? And I think most of you have figured that out yet. But you're going to be betrayed just like you allowed the people to be betrayed. And I want to be clear, I don't even blame the government people. I blame all of us. Look in the mirror, just like V for Vendetta. We wanted to be lazy. We wanted to think America was different and wouldn't go the same way every other country went when people gave in to corruption. We're not just going to go the same direction. We're going to fall harder than anybody's ever fallen. Because it's a true saying, folks, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. It's almost easier in a fight to get a big guy down on the ground. I don't know what it is. They just think they've got it over on you and they're going to win, and that's the end of it. And it's the same thing with this whole republic, ladies and gentlemen. We're already on the ground, and the New World Order is what brought us down. And we're on life support right now, and they're busy pulling the wires out because they're vulture capitalist, anti-free market. They're going to eat down to our bones, and then the hyenas are going to come in after. That's what they even call them. And they're even going to eat our bones and slurp the marrow out of them. Politically, financially, culturally. They are going to sit back in Luxembourg and Switzerland and London. And they are going to watch everything else collapse into hell. All the major billionaires, I mean all of them, are leaving Israel. Selling out, physically running to Switzerland, physically running to London, physically running to the Cook Islands, physically running. A lot of them are moving to Eastern Europe and literally Romania and Transylvania, what was previously Transylvania, that border region. They are, why do you think they're doing that? Why do you think elites all over the world? What do you think is going to happen to Israel? What do you think is going to happen to the United States? What do you think is going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen, folks. War, famine, pestilence, World War III. That's where the devil wants to take us. And I know you atheists laugh at it all. Oh, you're going to be laughing, let me tell you. See how that atheism works out for you. You people are the most afraid of death. And I'm talking about the socialist authoritarian atheist. I actually know a lot of atheists that are actually awake to the New World Order, so I don't want to overgeneralize that. I'm not declaring war on anybody. I'm just telling you right now that I've told you this in the build-up. My gut has never been more concerned. My intellect has never been more concerned. Everybody's freaking out. I mean, it's not hard. It's like looking out your window and a tornado's coming in, to get to shelter. And I grew up in Dallas, folks. I've only seen tornadoes once in Austin, and then I got blown off the road outside Austin by a tornado. But growing up in Dallas, I saw tornadoes every year. I don't know why I'm going off into that. Because we lived up on a hill in Rockwall, Texas, overlooking Lake Ray Hubbard and Dallas, and I could see all these cities off in the distance from that hilltop. And my dad would say, see that tornado? And we go look at the news, sure enough, it's a tornado. And I watched tornadoes come down out of the rural area, what's all built up now, and I'd watch them be gray or black and hit the water and turn blue, turn into water spouts. One time I watched 3 tornadoes. They were beautiful. They came in and went out across the lake, just probably 3 miles away from where I was looking off that hilltop. And I watched those tornadoes. And I'm just watching these tornadoes just come in tearing everything up. And these tornadoes aren't beautiful, folks. They are full of innocent blood. They are drunk on all the horrible things they've done. And they go, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. There's no tornado. And I'm watching it tear up people's houses a mile away now. And it's coming towards me. And I'm still here still in this country, the epicenter of this, trying to warn people. And I'm not even mad at my detractors. I'm not even mad at Rachel Maddow and CNN hosts saying lies about me. I look at these people standing on collapsing old media, selling out minute by minute for narcissism and 30 pieces of silver. And I know down the road, folks, they're going to literally in many cases, go into their bedroom and take pills and kill themselves. They are literally going to go just like Judas to the cemetery and put a rope around their neck. They're going to jump out of windows when they lose everything. If I lost everything, I wouldn't even care. I don't worship that. It's only a little bit of security. It's also a burden to mess with it. But I need some capital to defend myself and be strong. But I don't worship it. It's literally, I don't worship gas I put in my truck. It's fuel. But to these people that worship the baubles, it's their golden calf. Ladies and gentlemen, they are going to jump out of windows by the tens of thousands. They jumped out by the thousands in 1929. And over the next 3 years of deepening depression, when the denial was going that, oh, things are going to be okay because they'd lose their house, they'd lose their status. These people all think everything in their world is about their status, owning a bunch of stuff and dressing fancy and walking into the country club. And they're not happy to go to the country club to go play golf or go eat a good steak. They're excited strutting in front of people that they're in the biggest house in the neighborhood and they've got the biggest steak in the neighborhood and they've got the best trophy wife in the neighborhood to impress people they don't like and don't want to be around. I'm not a peacock, ladies and gentlemen, displaying my feathers. And where are the other men out there that want to have a civilization and want to have your grave visited by your great-grandchildren and have them say he was an honorable man, she was an honorable woman? You people don't have family names. You don't care about your children. You don't care about the planet. You don't care about the future. You really want to give in to evil? I got a bunch of news, but the boycott of the NFL is so essential that I'm begging everyone to boycott the NFL because it's being used to push an anti-American agenda. And if they can get away with this, the Obamacare, all of it, they can get away with anything. So here is my special report from InfoWars Nightly News last night, breaking this down, because we've got to fight back in the culture war or we're dead meat. Here it is. I have a question for you. Is there anything that American football fans will not put up with from the NFL? Throughout history, corrupt governments and tyrannical regimes have used sporting events as propaganda showcases. Ancient Rome used sporting events as a place to promote their agenda. Hitler, famously in the 1936 Olympics, hosted by Germany, used the event to push Nazism and other forms of oppression. And now the National Football League resembles something out of the Soviet era in Russia, promoting anti-family, anti-gun. And the big question is, will Americans now put up with the National Football League pushing the nightmare that is Obamacare officially in their broadcast? And President Obama in the intro now to Monday Night Football with Hank Williams Jr. removed. And of course, the biggest outrage, officially demonizing last year and this year the right of citizens to keep and bear arms for self-defense. It's not just Bob Costas, it's the NFL itself is acting like Joseph Stalin has seized control of it. And football fans are putting up with it. And so we are now seeing more and more of this anti-liberty, anti-American garbage. So Americans have to decide, are you going to roll over and put up with this because you love watching your football so much? Or are you going to boycott the NFL because of their anti-American agenda? And because the NFL thinks that the American spirit is broken, because they think football fans will put up with anything, they've now doubled down. And they've banned any type of pro-Second Amendment advertising from the NFL and from the Super Bowl.
Part of every day, some kind of anti-violence, anti-gun message. Every day, every school, at every level. One thing that I think is clear with young people and with adults as well is that we just have to be repetitive about this. It's not enough to simply have a catchy ad on a Monday and then only do it every Monday. We need to do this every day of the week and just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way.
A very well-respected firearms manufacturer, Daniel Defense, produced an ad that simply shows a father driving home talking about how he wants to protect his family and how it's a basic human right. He comes in the house, walks by photos of his family, himself in his Marine Corps uniform, goes in to be with his wife and his baby daughter.
And no one has the right to tell me how to defend them.
And then they simply say, brought to you by Daniel Defense, and never even advertise the firearms. The reason the NFL banned the wholesome ad is because it is so wholesome, and it shows how natural and good self-defense is with firearms in the hands of the American people to protect our homes. And that's why it's been banned. That's why it's been restricted. This is a pattern of censorship where they got rid of Hank Williams Jr. because he didn't worship the president and put the president in the intro in his place.
You mean when John Boehner played golf with President Obama?
Oh, yeah. It'd be like Hitler playing golf with Netanyahu, okay?
Okay.
Not hardly.
We have a war on the press now in this country. Even Democrats admit it's unprecedented. We as Americans have to come together in defense of the entire Bill of Rights, not just the Second Amendment, but the First Amendment as well, and have to send a clear message to the NFL that we're not going to put up with TSA groping us to get into the game, that we're not going to sit there and be bombarded by Obama administration messages at these gladiatorial events. And we're not going to see good, wholesome, pro-family advertising banned while they allow all this raunchy pop music garbage to be spewed at our families. The NFL is completely out of control. It is being used as a propaganda system against the American people. And if we don't have a serious boycott against the NFL and against their major sponsors, we will basically put up with anything, and the sky is the limit. There is an attack on free speech across the board, and we have to respond to it. Yahoo, Google, newspapers, TV stations, you name it, have banned gun shops advertising, have banned shooting ranges from advertising. There is a reign of terror where major banks are telling gun manufacturers and gun shops, we won't take your money, you can't have a bank account with us. This is a hardcore form of economic warfare. And now the NFL has been turned into the tip of the spear to destroy our Bill of Rights and Constitution. If the American people will not wake up, and if the sleeping giant will not send a clear message to the NFL that we are not going to be propagandized by it, then America's over, America's done. If they can take the so-called American pastime and turn it into an authoritarian bullhorn, we're done. Ladies and gentlemen, football is not the American pastime. 1776 and July 4th is about human liberty and the individual being empowered. It's not about giant, decadent, gladiatorial events that are about fame and fortune and shallow garbage. If Americans knew as much about our Bill of Rights and Constitution and about the free market and about what made this country great, if Americans knew as much about that as they did about how much some lineman can bench press, we would still be a free country. So will you trade liberty and the blessings of liberty for the NFL and for Obama? The choice is up to you. Contact the NFL, contact their sponsors, make your own YouTube videos, and tell the NFL, if you agree with me, that you are not going to put up with their propaganda. And if you think it's good that the NFL has been turned into a Soviet-style propaganda bureau, then by all means, put out your own videos in support of it. If you really want to live in North Korea, then tell us why tyranny is such a great thing. Let your voice be heard. Tell the NFL in phone calls and emails and on Facebook and Twitter that you're not going to stand by and be part of this, that you're not going to watch any of these games. You're not going to watch Fox that's going to air the Super Bowl, and that you're going to tell others to boycott it and spend time with their family or time at local churches and soup kitchens being with real Americans and not part of this modern Roman decadent spectacle that has become the National Football League. Give me liberty or give me death. As for me and my family, we are going to 100% boycott the NFL for the next couple years until they change their tune and apologize and promise to stop brainwashing the American people. All right, folks, there's the report. We skipped that network break because that message is so important. And again, this is what tyranny does. It just pushes and pushes and pushes to where you're awake to it, but you still don't fight back against it. And then they've won. It is so incredibly essential right now, more than ever, that when your friends want you to go out to a local restaurant and want you to, watch the NFL game with them, say, no, let's go do something else. I'm boycotting the NFL. I would go to these sports bars and places and tell them, hey, you want to be in the news? You want to get attention for your sports bar? actually, hand out tri-corner hats and have a Second Amendment party and say that you're going to watch war movies or something instead of watching the NFL. It'll be all over the news. I want listeners. I mean, there's so many different ideas. There's millions of them. I want listeners to shoot your own YouTube videos about the NFL. I'd like to see you go hand out flyers in front of the stadiums and point out that it's now a political system of manipulation. It's un-American. You've got to stand against this. Folks, they have Obama saying, yes, we can, in the intro to Monday Night Football. And Pavlovianly then cutting to the teams running out after you see the president rooting for the football. I mean, that's never happened. That's literally like Hitler in the intro to the Olympics in 1936. I mean, this is just so out of control. And it's all part of the propaganda. And this is an example that we can use with the sheeple to show them how they're being propagandized. And we won't save the world by boycotting the NFL, but resisting we will. This is only one more act of resistance. So this video is posted on Facebook. In fact, I'm going to have Paul Watson and the crew send it back out on Facebook, just the video itself. To send it out, tweet it on my Twitter at Real Alex Jones. I was going to tweet it this morning, but got busy, so I need the crew to tweet it. It's posted on Infowars.com right now. NFL faces national protest. NFL faces national protest. And the video that you just heard, radio listeners, is there on the site. It is essential that we fight for the info war and that we fight for the Second Amendment and that you get this video and send it out to everybody. You know why the Attorney General meeting with TV executives said we need to brainwash people against guns and violence? That's why they don't let kids at school. They suspend the kid more who fights back against a bully than they do the bully under Common Core. Look it up. And you're like, why? Well, it's like England now. They will put you in jail for decades if you catch someone raping your wife or attacking you in your house. There's cases of it. And you grab a butcher knife and stab them, even if they're stabbing you. They will then let that person go or give them a month in jail and you get 15 years in jail. Because the ultimate sin is fighting back against criminals because they're a criminal government that literally just grabs foreigners that visit and cut babies out of their wombs. I mean, there's nothing they won't do because no one will stand up to them, so the sky's the limit. The worse then gravitate and take control, and that's why tyranny always only gets worse if you give into it, because it's like a gravity well. It's like jumping off a cliff. You will fall. You will fall to the bottom. You will speed up. It's so amazing that we've gotten to this point as a society. And that's why it's more important than ever that you reach out to people this Christmas and this holiday season with the message of liberty. Don't make it about a bunch of millionaires playing grab you-know-what and a bunch of billionaire mobsters. I've looked into the NFL. You see all the fake calls now. It's even getting unpopular from its peak a few years ago because people know the fix is in. I mean, it's all gangsterism. The playoffs are fixed, folks. It's all a big fraud. And the gangsters, I've seen meetings of the National Football League owners, and I mean, they are a bunch of dirtbags. They are a bunch of gangsters, folks. They've all got bodyguards and guns, and they want you disarmed so they can have their way with you and your family. They are your enemies. Owners need to come out and not be afraid of the dead dinosaur media. You know, 20 years ago, the media could bring down an owner who was a patriot. Now the corporate whore media, if they attack you, it's like a red badge of courage, a blue ribbon. Listen. We need, if there are owners out there who aren't total criminals, we need sports stars to go public. Speak out.
Thank you.
Or let them rob your basic liberties that our forebears fought for. I mean, we're being robbed. We're being robbed. Take it personal. Coming up, second hour. In the last 50 years, iodine has been phased out of our staple foods and replaced with the halogen bromine, a practice now banned in nations around the world. Guess what else is in the halogen family? Fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here. In 1924, the federal government did the right thing and encouraged salt producers to add iodine. It's the good halogen on the periodic table, and the results are on record. Reports documented a 15-point IQ increase in areas that had previously been deficient in iodine. Bottom line, iodine is important. Unbound, clean, in a glycerin base. Nascent iodine was the answer for myself and my family. You will find Survival Shield Nascent Iodine exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWars Life Survival Shield Nascent Iodine isn't just for emergencies. I take it every day. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother. Mainstream media. Government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Dr. Edward Grube, one of the smartest people I know, is going to be joining us coming up to cover a host of issues in the next segment. Then we've got another doctor coming on, brain surgeon, medical doctor. It pretty much comes to the same analysis as Dr. Grube, Dr. Russell Blaylock, hard to get guest. We appreciate him coming on. We'll talk about Obamacare and how his predictions of what it would do, I thought were a little over the top to show how naive I am. And exactly what Blaylock said is now happening. You can go back to the interviews 4 years ago, 2 years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago. I mean, it is precisely. By the way, Dr. Blaylock goes, and we went and covered him in Las Vegas. There was like 2,000 medical doctors and scientists there paying huge amounts of money just to hear him speak for 2 hours. He developed all the stuff that's common literature now, like cytotoxins and all these terms that he literally 25, 30 years ago researched and coined are now like mainline. He invented a bunch of the top brain surgeries used today. I'm not trying to go into a worship fest of Blaylock. It's just that he is amazing. He's going to be joining us coming up in the third hour because I don't have the staff. If I had the money, I would have people that just chronicled in a word search. I guess we're kind of doing that now. Everything we talk about and what our guests say and predict so that we could then just go right back to it and pull it, with like a word search. At this point in the video or in the audio, they said this, and then we could go back and find it. By the way, I mentioned this earlier, but we were able to find it. Bush, in January of 2009, when Obama was president-elect, he was saying, I like Obama. We've been playing golf and hanging out, and you know what's great about it? Obama, as things collapse and get really bad, he's not going to go, oh, woe is me, and cry about it. He's just going to, deal with it. And it was all an inside, oh my gosh, they're going to drop the hammer on everybody. This is the controlled implosion. I mean, they're right out there telling you what they're going to do to you. And if you play ball with them, you can be like Bill Clinton and keep half the money that he collected for the charity in Haiti, and he uses it for his $40,000 one-way trip, luxury $50 million jet he flies on. So you give money for little black kids in Haiti, it literally goes into the pocket of the pig, Clinton, when he flies to Japan to get paid $500,000 to get a delayed payoff. That's how they do it, as speeches. Or he flies, to London to be paid $1 million, or flies to university to be paid $100,000 is his lowest thing for universities. He flies on a private jet with his hookers and all his drugs and the rest of it, paid for by poor people that send in money to help Haitian kids. I'm sorry, it's just so sick. And then you've got Foxconn, the worst factories in China, many studies have shown, where they have a urinal under the women and the men, and you have to defecate and urinate at your chair. And then they've got suicide nets, and they drug you, and they do forced pregnancy tests and do forced abortions right there in the factory. And then you stay in these Warren 200-square-foot, well, actually, in some areas, you actually get in a coffin, and they slide you into the wall. I'm not joking. So actually, 200 square foot's for us here now. They're going to raise the taxes where you have to live in a 200-square-foot. That's Bloomberg. San Francisco and New York are doing it. Actually, there it's coffin size. I'm sorry, it's smaller. And they put you in these coffins in the wall, and then you defecate and urinate standing there at the thing, and they put you on drugs. And, of course, they're getting ready to replace them with robots. But because Al Gore is on the board of Apple, it's like, oh, that's nice. If you're against, the Chinese being used as slaves, you're racist against them. And again, they didn't industrialize China to empower the Chinese people. They did it to enslave them and use them up, while the Communist Party pigs sit up there perched on everyone. If you want a good economy, you're like Henry Ford, who paid people about 10 times what the regular factory wages were, because he said, I want people to have money to buy my cars. Alex Jones here, and I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today. Alex Jones here with a very important announcement for truth seekers. We've carried a lot of amazing films and books over the years on the online video bookstore at Infowars.com. And out of all the titles we've carried, one stands out because it is just so chillingly convincing. And that's Dreams from My Real Father by Joel Gilbert, available at Infowars.com. This film exposes the fraud that Obama is like nothing I've seen. If you want to know who Obama's real daddy is, this is the film for you. Don't forget, your purchase supports our broadcast and our growing media network. You'll also find at InfoWarsShop.com, None Dare Call It Conspiracy by Gary Allen, the book that woke me up. We're also carrying Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21 by Rosa Corey. This book is coffin nails to the globalist takeover. The Greater Good, the most professional and up-to-date film I've ever seen exposing the scourge that is vaccines. These titles and a lot more are all available at InfoWarsShop.com. I had tried everything. I'd cut back the amount of food I was eating. I was lifting weights and jogging, but nothing was working. My body was literally starving for minerals and trace elements as well as key vitamins. And as soon as I had that, I immediately could eat half of what I was eating previously and be satisfied. Now, there are hundreds of great products at InfoWarsTeam.com, but I want to point out the 3 that have helped me lose 37 pounds in just 2 months. Products like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Pollen Burst, and Rebound. When I started taking the Tangy Tangerine and other products every day, I lost more than 37 pounds in just 2 months. Now that's results. I want to challenge my listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com and to order just 3 of their products, and you will see the changes in the way you look, feel, and in your appetite almost immediately. Start your journey to health and wellness today. InfoWarsTeam.com.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people think that the essence of tyranny is black uniforms, cameras, drones, secret police. And yes, we've got all that. And a government that runs al-Qaeda publicly and uses the threat of al-Qaeda to take our liberties. And a government that has the IRS persecuting gun groups, veterans groups, Christian groups, pro-life groups, alternative medicine groups. I mean, you name it, the tyranny's there. The examples of corruption are legion. But even in Congress, we got a special report coming up on the nightly news tonight because there's a bunch of examples of this, are having hearings now about the executive branch being a dictatorship. Oh, I'll just make the illegals legal. I'm the president. I'm God. I'll just put us under NATO. Well, you can't do that. It's unconstitutional. I do whatever I want. I'll just shut down all the power plants that General Electric doesn't own and double and triple their profits. I'll just put carbon taxes in a regulation about microwaves that isn't even law, and then put carbon tax on everybody's carbon expenditure. Obama did that this year. And it's just now added to your bill. He didn't even sign an executive order. I mean, they could start interpreting his flatulence if they wanted to. And you know, have some tea reader, tea leaf reader. You know, that's how the ancients did it. They would take like bones and put it in a fire, and how the bones broke, they would go off that. Or they would go to the Oracle of Delphi, some woman breathing, nauseous gases, hallucinating stuff. Really, they had the people behind them telling her what to say. It's political manipulation. But my point is that they could, run the country according to Obama, going out and looking at a butchered bull every morning and reading its intestines. That's what the Romans would do. I mean, it literally God emperor type stuff has begun. And Congress, I played a clip earlier, is having hearings going, well, actually, the precedent's been set for the executive to be a dictator. And now suddenly everything's executive. Exactly. We're now going into a dictatorship. And let me show you a headline up at drudgereport.com right now. No one says it like Drudge does. Dirty Harry, that's Harry Reid, exempts staff from Obamacare. And by the way, now admits there are death panels. Because it's now law, suckers. And that is from CNN. That's right. One of the main architects in the Senate of it admits that his people are exempt. And again, that's the real essence. At the bottom of tyranny is that 4 legs bad, 2 legs good, to use the George Orwell Animal Farm analogy. Because it started out with the pigs to the horses and other animals. Let's revolt against the humans. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. But by the time the pigs were done and run the humans off with the horses' help, they were inside the house dressing like humans, saying 2 legs good, 4 legs bad. And that's what they're doing. It's totally illegal. My dad came into work today to visit me and was showing me his insurance. It went up 30-something% 2 months ago. And so he's lucky. A lot of people's double, triple, quadrupled, or 500-and-something% in Texas with Humana for families with no pre-existing conditions. And he got another letter. It's up 30% again. And so that's how they're doing it. Every few months, it goes up 30-something%. My dad's never used his insurance. For whatever reason, I learned this from him. I don't know why he does it, but I guess you think it keeps your insurance down. When he goes to the doctor every once in a while for a checkup, he just pays cash. He pays with but it doesn't matter. That still gets filed with him through the surveillance system. And that's what Obamacare is about as well, tracking everything you do, feeding it back. This is the mega total ripoff. And it's designed to try to stop alternative medicine from getting any kind of Medicare, Medicaid, or insurance money. It's designed to lower the quality of care. And it's designed to let insurance companies, in some cases, charge 11 times what they did previous and not cover pre-existing conditions. And all these morons that are in the news going, well, 10% of America was able to sign up. They're now going in going, I signed up. I'm in the system. They go, well, we can't even get on a system. You're not signed up. Where's your insurance card? They go, it's free. Obama. I got an Obama phone. Now I get Obamacare. And they look at them and they go, there is no free health care. There was previous under charity care, under law. We've pretty much gotten rid of that now. Some doctors are still trying to do it, but they're being told by the big management companies you can't. Just like it came out in the news yesterday, I saw it on Drudge too, that small banks and credit unions are being shut down under the banking regs that were supposed to fix the mega banks. The mega banks wrote that to shut down their competition. They've got unlimited bailout money now, and then the local bank can't do fractional reserve banking, so they're shutting down. That they don't want you to get money. They want a fixed system. Comprende? All you're going to get is a screw job. They got you addicted to government and the NFL distractions and and the opiate of the masses, the gladiatorial diversions, and now they fattened us up, and now it's butchering time. And many of you will settle for 10% of the chicken feed you've been getting by the time they're done, instead of being free and wealthy and prosperous. You want slavery. You love slavery. And the system thinks that you're ready now. You'll eat GMO, you'll drink all the poison, you'll do whatever. Well, why not? Why not just take your pension funds? Why not spy on everybody without warrants? Why not set up checkpoints? Why not cut babies out of women's wombs for CPS now? Why not have the FBI persecute the Tea Party under orders from the White House, and it comes out and no one gets in trouble? That's how Hitler started, was just persecuting his political opposition with regulations and audits and things. And so I wanted to get Dr. Ed Group in here with us because, man, I tell you, none of us are perfect. I have a vision of what I want in my life, but I obviously can't get there overnight. I thought they'd kill me any time for a decade, so I just ate like a pig, was totally unhealthy, and because I've been physically attacked and death threatened a lot, and I just thought, well, you know, why even worry about what I look like or feel like? Now I realize it's long haul. Tommy Pilato, a movie producer, friend of mine, he said, Alex, that's how they really kill you, is making you think they're going to kill you, and then you just don't care about yourself. You're killing yourself. So it's taken me about 5-6 years to lose 40-something pounds, to get healthier. And I weighed 275 pounds at the height of it, folks. So I'm still a little bit overweight, but actually standing there out of the shower, I got a little bit of fat on my stomach. I just got a long torso. I actually look pretty good now. I don't look that good on TV. It puts weight on you. But the point is that my brain works so much better. And I've gotten into supplementation and tried to research it the last 3-4 years in this process of detoxing, trying to get my life straight. And I finally found Dr. Group and the things he was doing. And I learned stuff from him that I didn't hear from anybody else that has just been absolutely miraculous. Like, he helped us develop this only form. It's the only form. It's totally proprietary of nascent iodine that is totally bioavailable and absorbed by the body, not bound. And other iodine's great as well. I mean, it's just this is the best stuff from my research. And, of course, that helps us fund our operation as well, InfoWarsLife.com. But I wanted to get him in here to talk about this big stack of news where Harvard now admits fluoride decreases IQ. Areas in Germany, the Netherlands, all over are removing fluoride, so good news. And then we're going to get into some other systems of detox with him as well, because the real revolution here is that they're targeting our bodies so that we're so poisoned that we can't even get upset or motivated to resist them. So the revolution starts with our bodies. It starts with getting our kids out of the public schools. It starts with decoupling from the system, not caring what Hollywood and the media say, and that's happening. Congress has a 6% approval rating. The mainstream media is dying, but we've got to go all the way and not just leave Babylon, not just come out of Egypt, but actually build a new promised land. And there is no silver bullet, but there's a process. And Dr. Ed Group joins us here today in studio, advisor to InfoWarsHealth.com, InfoWarsLife.com, and, of course, InfoWars.com. And he's here with us today. You've heard my rant about Obamacare and how the government and the corporations are exempt. I mean, is that not the ultimate form of discrimination? Of course they're screaming racism all day if you love liberty as a distraction, because they're actually cheating all of us that aren't on the inside group.
That's been going on for a long time when they started putting fluoride in the water and everything else and poisoning the air and poisoning the food. But today, you know, if you look at the combination of chemicals that we're exposed to every day, I mean, fluoride is so toxic. I mean, the hydrofluorosilicic acid that they put in the water supply. And if you have a hard time saying that, you just automatically know it's a poison. I mean, it's almost as poisonous as arsenic. So what I try to do is tell people it's everywhere. I mean, if you go to Starbucks and get some coffee, you're drinking fluoride. If you drink beer, you're drinking fluoride. Wine, all the food that you make, the bread that you eat, all of it has to be made with water, right? I mean, the water that you're spraying on your yard, your organic garden.
Plus, they add it. They add it to the bread.
Prescription medications have fluoride in it. I mean, you're right. It's designed to dumb you down, to make you non-motivated and non-aggressive. So really, what I want to talk about is how people can address that and how people can reduce that, because there's a million chemicals we could pick out there. But really, if you take like the top 5, I mean, they know, and it's been in the water system and it's been everywhere for so long, how detrimental fluoride is. It wasn't until, like, for example, if you stick your hand in hydrofluorosilicic acid, you will die just because you came in contact with it. That's how poisonous it is. You can't breathe the gases. So it was funny that Anthony Gucciardi mentioned in late 2012, well, what is out there? I mean, what can you develop a product that will get rid of fluoride inside the system? And I was like, you know what, that's a great idea.
That's right, it's Gucciardi that came up with it.
Yeah, so I said, I've got about a 2-year waiting list for product development, but I was like, wait a second, if you can address the main chemical that's dumbing people down, reducing the IQs of children, the list goes on, and you've talked about it for years and years. What if we could develop a product that would actually help the body detoxify fluoride? And, with the Survival Shield, with the iodine product that we came up with, that's great because the iodine saturates the thyroid and it doesn't let the fluoride in. But what about something that we could use and take on a regular basis to protect the children, and techniques on how to avoid fluoride from coming into the
That's right. We're going to talk about that today because we are launching the new product today. We're only spend about 5 minutes on that and get into news and analysis, folks. But this is amazing because Dr. Group off record said, hey, when you got to be on Coast to Coast AM or something, you got to stay up all night, try not drinking coffee, try taking a double dose of the iodine, and it literally is a brain booster for me. We'll be right back. Alex Jones here, and I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today.
Yes, family and friends are gathering to give gifts and wish health and security. But why not enhance cell phone and wireless device security all year with Block It Pocket? A family-owned American business, we now have 2 spectacular holiday specials. Find them now at our new website, blockitpocket.com, or call 888-315-9618. Hurry, holiday special ends Christmas Day. Give the gift of security from blockitpocket.com, wishing you health, freedom, and liberty.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. Silverlungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at silverlungs.com. That's silverlungs.com.
You better watch out, you sure better cry. You're at least gonna pout, and I'm telling you why. Privacy is leaving your town.
Is your cell phone being used to build a profile on you? Give the gift of privacy and block unwanted cell phone spying with the Privacy Case from PrivacyCase.com.
They're making their list, they're checking them twice. They're gonna make up who's been naughty or nice.
The problem is real, and so is the solution. Go to PrivacyCase.com because
they see you when you're sleeping. They listen when you're awake. They can tell us all you've been bad when you've been good. So get yourself a privacy case. Oh,
now through December 31st, buy yourself an American-made privacy case and give one for only $79.95 each. Go to PrivacyCase.com today. The Privacy Case, because there is a case for privacy.
What looks good under your Christmas tree and tastes even better? Big Berkey water filters. Yes, the gift of clean water. A gift that provides a great foundation for achieving good health in the lives of your loved ones. A Big Berkey water filter gives them protection from bacteria, heavy metals, chlorine, fluoride, pesticides and herbicides, VOCs and more. And best of all, a Big Berkey water filter is a gift that lasts for many years with no additional investment. And that saves time and money in filter replacements that other water filters require and are even powerful enough enough to purify treated, untreated, or even stagnant pond water. As always, all orders over $50 are shipped free, and GCN listeners get 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Order online at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com, spelled Big, B-E-R-K-E-Y, waterfilters.com, or call 877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Gift well this Christmas. Give a Big Berkey water filter.
Now, I want to get into Obamacare with Dr. Ed Grube and all this news where cities and counties are pulling fluoride out of the water in New Jersey, in states like Arkansas, a whole bunch of them. So they're passing federal mandates of money to the states where the state doesn't get the federal money that's really state money, citizen money, if they don't fluoridate. So they're passing laws that the water's got to be fluoridated and public schools have to have it, when for 7 years the American Dental Association and Medical Association have said under 5 don't drink it. And I've had arguments with doctors that don't know that, and they look it up and they go, oh my God, no one told me this. So we forced them to say don't drink it. And the scientists at the FDA have gone public, God bless them, again, that's an example of good people in government, in 2000 and again in 2009, 90+% of them signed official deals, could have been fired, and said take it out, it's giving people cancer, thyroid, IQ, and they said no. So here's the deal, folks. I've actually got to commend the government scientists trying to get it out. It's the citizens sitting down on their butts. People should be angry. So Dr. Grube, I want to get into fluoride and all that, but you've got the floor. We are launching Fluoride Shield, Fluoride Detox, but it doesn't just detox that, and it is the super combo. Because Gucciardi had this idea, as you said, a couple of years ago. You were so busy, I should also add, you're one of the major formulators in the country. You yourself have lines of stuff that are your national bestsellers and are really, I guess, nutramedical, I guess they'd call them. They're used in hospitals, you name it. But the whole point is I appreciate you helping us do this because you're on board with the Liberty Movement. Tell us about how you developed and are allowing us to be the sole proprietary distributor of it, Fluoride Shield. Tell us what's in it.
First of all, just an incredible idea, and so I really wanted to put a lot of effort into it and spend a lot of time researching it because ultimately I want to help everybody out just like you. And
by the way, you couldn't get one of the agreements, ingredients for about 6 months, and this all got held up, and I said, just take it out. You said, no, I will not put it out unless it's, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's exactly what it was, and the ingredient was shilajit, and it actually is a black mass. It's an organic mass that grows out of the mountains in the Himalayas. So they actually have to go up there and harvest it at a certain time of the year. It's like a black ooze, and they harvest it, and it's very high in minerals. And it's been used in Ayurvedic for thousands and thousands of years. It's a miraculous healing compound. But it's high in fulvic acid and has the ability to help chelate and pull metals and toxic compounds out of the system. So that was one of the main ingredients. And by the way, these ingredients are hard to get. I've got organic fulvic acid in there. I've got tamarin, which a lot of people don't know about, and that mobilizes metals and fluorides from the body.
Nascent iodine.
Montrose, and then iodine in there as well. Not a lot like the Survival Shield, but you can actually take the Fluoride Shield and the Survival Shield at the same time. And
you explained how it all triggers it. One thing gets it moving, the other grabs it. Explain it.
Yes. Well, it's got zeolites in it, too. And so basically what we want to do is we want to take something that's going to target toxic chemicals, especially fluoride. Some of it, like cilantro, is going to mobilize it from the cells, and then the zeolites are going to pick it up, and the fulvic acid is also going to chelate it or bond to it so you can extract it normally from the body. So, you know, especially with the dental fluorosis, the skeletal fluorosis, people losing hair, arthritis, joint pains all over the United States. I mean, one of the best things when he came up with that idea was like, that's great because that's the one thing that you can really turn you around super fast. I mean, as far as health is concerned, because you need to be able to understand and have mental clarity if you want to fight against the opposition, if you want to fight against everything else, and if you want, especially with the Obamacare situation right now, people need to start taking responsibility for their own health. They need to start cleaning their body. They need to start detoxifying, and they need to be aware of the things that they're putting in their system.
And you warned us on air, and you warned me, because I took it for several months, just the proprietary nascent iodine before we actually bottled it and put it out. that get ready, you may start detoxing. And I felt a few weeks into it kind of sick for a while, a little bit, but then it passed, like you said, and then you said, look, I'm not going to say a bunch of this on air, but just wait what it does to your clarity. And I guess just the nascent iodine alone, I guess stripped out a bunch of stuff that was fogging me up in my glands, for lack of a better word. Leanne has said the same thing. I mean, I literally can be staying up all night. I don't drink coffee now. I will hit the iodine. And, of course, you got to consult a physician. Sometimes I take more than what it says recommended. You told me privately what you really take. And I was like, man, is this guy crazy? Let me tell you, this stuff's amazing.
Well, it's easy to tell people avoid artificial sweeteners, avoid alcohol. You know, they can avoid it. But it's hard to tell people to avoid fluoride because what? Are you going to not go out to the restaurant and eat anymore? Are you not going to have water anywhere? All the food's made with water, the soup. I mean, everything. It's hard to avoid fluoride. It's in everything. So that's why I figured it's a great idea to have a product that someone can take on a regular basis that will actually help them immobilize and eliminate fluoride.
What is it doing in the brain, though, for the clarity? I mean, it's amazing. What is it?
What it's doing is it's decalcifying the pineal gland, number one, which is bringing your consciousness up and making you more aware and giving you a more spiritual connection. And then
it's undoubted. The dreams I'm having, I mean, quite frankly, this stuff's amazing. I don't know. We're going to be right back, but that's the old product. I'm going to tell you about the new one.
We're on the march.
And we're going to get into everything, all the news. We've got to get into all this news. Stay with us.
Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
My friends, Alex Jones here to tell you about some of the most important information concerning you and your family's health. Radiation levels have more than doubled in the last 60 years in the Northern Hemisphere from all of the nuclear testing and radiological accidents. Radioactive contamination is now in most of the food supply. There's only two ways to avoid this. Move south of the equator or properly protect your thyroid with nascent iodine. Looking to protect my family, I've done deep research. Nascent iodine is the purest, cleanest, absolute best form of iodine to protect yourself and your family. It's made right here in the USA, completely non-GMO. I searched out the best quality and now have developed a double-strength form of nascent iodine, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Nascent iodine is on record as one of the only safe ways to detox from fluoride poisoning. Survival Shield Nascent Iodine. Secure your super high-quality nascent iodine today at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com. Alex Jones here, and I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today. Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gate, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filters today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.
Live from the InfoWars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're here live, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't know, maybe once a month or so, I have a guest on where we're plugging some products that funds our operation. And what I do is I go out and research things for years. And then what I use for myself and my family, my children all take this, my wife takes it. She's like, what on earth is this? This really is doing what you're saying. It's amazing. Well, obviously, ProPure is the best gravity-fed filters out there that I could find. Cuts out the glyphosates, the fluoride. So I sell that. I use it. And then you can block them putting the fluoride in your water and be healthy, and we can fund the media operation. Win, win, win. That's just old-fashioned, free market, good products, capitalism. You know, good karma, good reap what you sow, whatever you want to call it, folks. That's what I'm into. And again, I'm being honest about it. I'm like, well, it's got all these other 5 great ingredients. I'm sick of waiting. Let's call it, you know, Fluoride Shield Turbo or something once I get the Shilajit. Because he's like, well, we've got some good Shilajit, but it's not the best, and I want it this. And I'm like, look, been waiting 6 months here for this. Oh, and that's the final issue. They only got half the Shilajit they thought, and this is not a advertising tactic, though it is. Just, you know, the truth is what sells, but it is true. We got a third of what I originally wanted to order, and it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks till I get more. And so I almost didn't even come out with it just because it's pointless. We're just going to sell out of it in like 2 days. But we have 2 new products, Super Male Vitality and the Fluoride Shield, that will sell out in days, and we won't have more for 4 to 6 weeks. Okay? I mean, period. So I've been wanting to get Dr. Group in here anyways, so that's it. We have plenty for now of the Survival Shield proprietary nascent iodine. And just to give you an example, the other ones, which I'm sure are great for you and everything, are black on paper because they're oxidized mixed with alcohol. This is bound up in the non-GMO from Germany glycerin and turns bright blue on paper. I mean, I'm just giving you an idea of the differences here, just visually what goes on. And we do have plenty of that at InfoWarsLife.com, or call toll-free 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139 if you want to call and order it. And it's also good to store as well. But this is something you take daily. Consult your physician, because a lot of you are super toxic like I was. I mean, this is not a game. This is not a joke. This is real stuff, okay? And what's blown me away is that I'm like, listen, Group is taking forever. Let's go find, I told Group this, for somewhere else to put this out. And I found out the industry is so unbelievable with fillers and all the rest of it that I could get stuff for like $2, ladies and gentlemen, instead of paying $16, you know, $20 a bottle myself or something to get the real stuff. And I went and did research. Okay, I mean, that's the difference with these companies and these fillers, and even a lot of the stuff that's seen as super good and wonderful. And again, I don't need to differentiate the competition to sell this stuff. I'm telling you, folks, we're bringing you, from our research, the very best stuff. And I'm done plugging it. Let's get into fluoride, but let's finish up, Dr. Group, what you were telling me about what fluoride does, how it supercharges the body. The point is, this is available now. It'll be the middle of January till we have more of this, folks. And I'm not even getting into the Super Male Vitality. We got such a small amount of that. And I'll be honest with you, folks, I took this when we had the formula 3 months ago for about a month. I quit taking it except for about a third of the even recommended dose because I don't need the Super Male Vitality, okay? Okay, I don't need it in the morning, if you know what I mean. And I'm going to literally start, I mean, I can't take it, okay? But for guys out there, let me tell you, the leading competitors are double the price, like $100 for this stuff. And our stuff's, you know, 50-something or 60-something because of the ingredients that are in it. And I'm telling you, I wanted to try all this stuff out. Other competitors don't do anything or give me a headache. This Super Male Vitality, when we finally get enough of it, is going to be a market changer, okay? The problem is that it's so hard to make. And again, Group, why is it so hard to make good stuff? And then you've got the floor.
Well, because nobody else out there takes the time and effort to research the ingredients and make sure that they mix everything correctly, that they use cold processing, that they use all glass equipment. I mean, most of the stuff out there is done in aluminum-based production vessels, stainless steel production vessels. All that can affect the way that it mixes together. People use alcohol extractions, which are dated back to, you know, thousands and thousands of years ago. No one's reinvented the way to process herbs or came up with new technology and utilized new technology since we have, really. I mean, and that's like starting from scratch and figuring out how we can extract, because see, alcohol extractions only get about 40 to 50% of the constituents of the plant out.
But what kind of pitch is that? Don't buy this, it's too strong. I mean, what is in the Super Male Vitality separately?
What's in the Male Vitality is a proprietary formula, and I developed it because men everywhere are experiencing andropause right now.
Because they're putting all the garbage in them.
When you turn 30, your body, a male, their body starts producing more estrogen than testosterone. And we have a major problem with all the estrogen, soy, all the phytates, the plastics, everything that's mimicking estrogen. And actually, talking about fluoride, it does the same thing. Fluoride causes excess aluminum to be put up into the brain, which causes problems. And fluoride is associated with excess estrogen levels in the body, too. And fluoride reduces sperm count. It reduces the reproductive area.
Well, that's why John P. Holdren says they put it in the water, is for mainly infertility. To make you infertile, yeah.
And what we have now is we have two girls being born for every one male. So they're trying to reduce the amount of males with the fluoride and all the other stuff.
Unbelievable.
So with the Male Vitality, that was designed to bring you back to when you were a teenager again, bring you back to where you're 18, regulate and normalize your hormone levels, growth hormone.
Why can't I handle it?
Well, you're already like a dominant, testosterone male. I mean, this is you're only 39 too. So anytime after 40, as your levels continue to go, and plus you're avoiding the estrogens. And I
was about to say, and I've been exercising. I mean, I still take it sometimes, like in the morning if I'm tired or don't want to work out or something. It's just that I did get crazed in about 3 weeks on this.
Well, you have to look at your personality, and you have to look at what, if you're having fatigue, if you're having extra weight gain like males do around the trunk area, if you're eating a crappy diet with all kinds of estrogens and stuff like that, and you're having, sexual dysfunction, which look at all the men on Viagra and everything these days.
And again, I just want to say, folks, well, just get the Male Vitality. This is going to sell itself. Wait till people try this.
And put it this way, it makes you feel like you're 16 or 17 again. And it gives you that energy boost.
No, I'm just saying I take a lot less of it. You were telling me, but also we're going to come up with a female version, but quite frankly, you were saying women that does the same thing for women.
I've had women call my office and basically say, what are you giving to my husband? And do you have some for me? Because it's completely changed their relationship. I mean, they're able to have sexual relations again. They're balanced out. I mean, the guy is confident about himself because he's gaining muscle. He's losing that extra fat. He feels young again. And it's all about, with health, health really is giving you self-confidence. I mean, when you look in the mirror and you look good and you look healthy, then you're self-confident when you go out into the world. When you look in the mirror and you don't look good and you feel bad and you're hungover or anything like that, you don't have that self-confidence for that day. You don't have that drive and that passion to go out into the world and accomplish what you want to accomplish. And that's why I want to help people detox the fluoride. And really, with fluoride, it affects babies and affects children and affects older people even worse. And, especially with children and mixing the fluoridated water in with their baby formulas, I mean, they get 400 times the amount, or at least.
We did this with Natural News editor, naturalnews.com, Mike Adams, where he brought in the leading, a few years ago, we should do this again, leading baby formulas. They were like 75% sugar and high fructose corn syrup. I mean, no wonder. I mean, I've seen the studies where kids that drink formula have smaller brains.
Exactly. I mean,
you're meant to be getting fat right from your mama. And
the tests that have come back when they tested breast milk have shown very, very, very low fluoride levels in there. But when you put water and you bathe the children in fluoridated water and you're around it all the time, then you're going to have all those endocrine disruptions. And
you were telling me what fluoride does to other things, like how it supercharges the uptake of aluminum?
Yeah, it supercharges the uptake of aluminum. It causes damage to the liver, causes damage to the brain, causes damage to the kidneys. It reduces IQ, like we talked about. It gives you that brain fog. It can cause skin rashes. People that have skin rashes can be fluoride sensitive. The list goes on and on and on and on, but it's just the fact that it chronically suppresses the immune system too. And that way you can't activate your own body self-healing mechanism, which we've talked about a bunch of times. It's all about reducing your chemical exposure and cleansing your system on a regular basis, cleaning the air, cleaning the water. You know, but the thing is, even though people have water filtration systems and restaurants sometimes have water filtration systems, it's not going to get the fluoride out. I mean, they're just carbon-based systems. You have to have specialized either distillation systems, which is why we use in the production of our products triple distilled water. It doesn't get any cleaner than that. And then we mix that in a certain percentage with glycerin, and then we use that as an extraction medium for the herbs or whatever we're extracting.
What is happening, because when we sold out of it, I looked into carrying other so-called nascent iodine, and we just couldn't sell it because it tasted so bad. And also, I mean, why it tastes and looks like it's oxidizing. What's happening with iodine that's put in with alcohol that makes it black instead of shiny, pretty blue on paper? I mean,
you know, we've tested multiple different types of iodine by different manufacturers, and we're getting different results across the board. First of all, it's in ethyl alcohol. In ethyl alcohol, it might be genetically modified, it might not, but alcohol is definitely a toxin to the body. That's the number one reason why I don't like alcohol extractions. Number two is you're not able to extract or bond the substances into the matrix like you are with glycerin. Vegetable glycerin is what I'm talking about. We would never use animal products, but with the glycerin, you can actually hold the iodine in the matrix, and then when you release it, it should turn a purplish color. That means that you're releasing free iodine onto whatever you want to release it onto. So basically with the alcohol-based tinctures, number one, they taste really, really bad. We don't know what the microgram dose is in some of them. They're all different, and they're really hard to give to children or even pets. Look, I mean, you have dogs and cats right now. Practically every dog and cat that's raised on a human diet, because people give their dog food and the contaminated GMO dog food, which is full of chemicals and toxic metals and all that stuff to their pets, and then their pets eat the crappy food they eat. Dogs and cats are having hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism just like humans. You can't give the alcohol-based product to pets because pets...
But I just want to be clear. This is such a giant country, giant world. We're not in competition with folks with other thyroid, type deals and iodine. I think it's great. Get it from, the quality gourmet salts that have it. Get it from other nascent iodines, whatever. My point is we're explaining why this system is glycerin-based.
Right, and I'm a big supporter. I mean, it doesn't really, it's just like if you want to drive a car. Do you want to drive a Bentley or do you want to drive like a little Volkswagen or something like that? Or, it's a matter of looking at...
But if people can't afford, it's double the strength at half the price leading competitors, our survival shield or our fluoride shield, it's in the big 2-ounce bottle, by the way, they can still get the gourmet salts, correct, that have some of the good iodine in them?
You can get like Himalayan crystal salt, which actually has natural iodine in it, and it's not processed, it's not bleached. All stuff like that. You can eat seaweed, organic seaweed. Of course, make sure it's not coming from over there by Fukushima.
Sure.
But, there's different processing techniques, too, that we even actually test the raw iodine when it comes in with Geiger counters just to make sure that it's not, putting out any type of radiation. It's just a matter of what steps are you going to take to ensure that you're giving the highest quality product to somebody these days, because I've spent years looking at all different types of products out there. That's my whole life, is evaluating and formulating products and getting people the right information that they can trust. I've put my name on it. That means that all of that information has been researched extensively, and it's a passion of mine, just like yours, to bring this information out to the public. So I want to produce the best product out there, and one of the reasons why I started that is because I looked and I couldn't find any good products out there. They all have magnesium stearate in them. If you track it down, they're using herbs that are 2 or 3 or 4 years old that sat in a warehouse at 200 degrees or 150 degrees somewhere or in a shipping container. I mean, when you really start tracking back, take a product off the shelf at any drugstore or major retailer, and if you call that company, first of all, they're probably not even going to give you any information on it. And if you really track it back...
Listen, some of the biggest companies, we were looking at private label stuff, the bottle costs more than what's in it. And I was like, no, we're not going to buy this. I mean, what is going on out there?
Well, because everybody wants to produce a cheap product. They don't really care about the end consumer. I mean, and that's the good thing about you. That's the good thing about me, is we actually care about the end consumer.
Well, I mean, I don't want the bad luck from selling people stuff that isn't highest quality. I mean, that's like God-fearing. I don't want to get into pitching the thing. I think I'm not even trying to. We just, whenever we're talking, we always talk about this, so it's kind of inside baseball stuff. What do you make of the federal government lobbying states and states passing laws saying cities can't take fluoride out? I mean, for me, that is so outrageous. Why do you think the establishment, Dr. Group, wants to put hydrofluorosilicic acid and other fluorines and the bromine and all the stuff they're putting in the bread? I mean, they've got to know what they're doing.
Of course they know what they're doing. I mean, it's whole part of the population control scheme is about keeping people dumbed down. It's about keeping people sick. I mean, and that's why.
So we can't be mad at Americans and others in the West that are so unhealthy, highest cancer rates, dying, all of that, and being zombies. We've been poisoned.
We are being poisoned. I mean, and that is a super toxic chemical. I mean, the phosphate industry for fertilizer, which is a whole nother big scam, but they use the phosphate containing rocks. They pour sulfuric acid on it. They get these chemicals. It would cost them way more money to dispose of this because hydrofluorosilicic acid is so toxic. It's almost as toxic as arsenic. With the amount that they're producing for the fertilizer industry, and I'm not even talking about the aluminum production industry, what are they going to do with all that stuff? And this goes back actually into the early 1900s. So they're dumping it in the water supply because they know that it's going to kill everybody off eventually. It's a slow poison. It's a slow death.
And again, for those that don't know, from aluminum smelting, they have it as a byproduct fertilizer, but the big one at the end of World War II, and they had big spills in Tennessee that were killing the whole rivers, was the uranium enrichment. They mined it out of the same limestone. They had all this hydrofluorosilicic acid left, and they went, what do we do from the Manhattan Project? We put it in the water. Oh, man.
Yeah, and what happened was the citizens have actually, especially like in San Diego and in some areas throughout the United States, they've have action networks, and they've fought dating back to the early 1900s and have laws in the cities that they cannot fluoridate the water. But now what's happening is Big Brother's coming down and saying to the states, you have to, enforce this fluoridation. And the states are actually overturning or cutting the funding to these small cities that have not had fluoridated water for hundreds of years.
Exactly.
Making and forcing them to fluoridate the water now.
Well, I was about to say, when I just happened to be at a hotel and they were having a water convention in Arkansas where they passed a law the year before to make you have fluoride. And no exaggeration, I forget, it was like 30, 40, I forget. I mean, had water guys come over and go, we're big listeners, and we don't put it in the water, even though they make us buy it and we got it. It gets gotten rid of.
And it's not only...
And they were all in a conspiracy of liberty for their families. They were just not doing it. See, that's how we're going to save people. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Awesome. Well, what I'm saying is it's not just the fluorosilicic acid that they're getting from China now shipping over, but it's all the arsenic and lead.
Stay there. Explain that. Exactly. Stay there. I'm going to talk about that.
Whether it's natural disasters, civil unrest, or preparing for your next adventure, SurvivalMetrics.com has the top name brands and hard-to-find items that will help you survive. Specializing in tactical survival and preparedness kits, our kits are carried by thousands of military professionals and are now 15% off. We carry medical kits, escape and evade kits, vehicle survival kits, and much more. Call us at 877-968-2012 today. Adapt, overcome, survive at SurvivalMetrics.com.
This holiday season, why not give your loved ones the best in highway protection? Video-Cam.com is offering 2 HD DVR dash cams, 2 8GB SD cards with free shipping for $150. Also, Video-Cam.com is taking 20% off their entire stock of dash cams and SD cards with free shipping. So go to Video-Cam.com or call 1-855-855-2022. Have a safe and happy holiday season, and remember, always have a witness.
When you need it the most, will your generator, power equipment, or vehicle be ready? Gas and diesel fuels go bad quickly when stored, and more than half of generator failures during disasters occur as a result of expired fuel. PRI Fuel Stabilizers keep your fuel fresh for when you need it most. Nuclear power stations, emergency service providers, and ships at sea rely on PRI Fuel Stabilizers, and you can too. Call 888-776-9373 or visit PRIproducts.com to find the dealer nearest you. That's the sound of a .44 Magnum and Trauma Max, a high-tech hybrid Kevlar bulletproof vest from InfidelBodyArmor.com. Will stop it and most pistol rounds. Trauma Max is a major breakthrough in pistol-rated body armor, and prices start at just $170 per insert. More protection, more stopping power, more mobility, and it weighs less than 5 pounds. Get details at InfidelBodyArmor.com. That's INFIDEL BodyArmor.com.
Our infrastructure is failing, and our government is corrupt.
We have some hard times ahead. If there was no way to get medical help, what would you do? How are you going to protect the safety of your family during a crisis when there are no doctors, hospitals, emergency services, or supplies? Supernatural Silver is the answer. Supernatural Silver is a nano-engineered silver unlike any other silver product on the market today. This technology has advanced antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal properties, and more than 200 independent clinical studies and trials have shown that it's effective in over 500 different uses. Supernatural Silver can be stockpiled and stored for over 10 years, and in a collapse, it could be priceless. It can be used daily to fight off colds, flus, and other pathogens, and yet it's powerful enough to combat some of the most deadly diseases in the world today. Make sure your home is well stocked with Supernatural Silver. To order, go to supernaturalsilver.com. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code SILVER2013 for 20% off, and like us on Facebook.
Don't worry, this show is documented. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher.
I'm not going to talk about the products anymore that we just launched, Super Male Vitality and the Fluoride Shield. And, of course, it pulls out a bunch of other toxins as well. But I was asking you during the break, and you said, you know, you'll talk about it. Your Super Male Vitality that you developed for us, you're explaining, it gets your body to release the testosterone. How does it do that?
Well, what I like to do is formulate stuff that's going to actually help the body heal itself instead of having somebody that just needs to be on something forever. So what that's designed to do, since automatically the male body quits producing hormones, at least testosterone and DHEA and some of the male hormones right around 30 to 40, but we're seeing that even younger now because of the estrogen dominance. What I wanted to do is actually, instead of like what's going on right now where guys are going to the doctor and they're getting these testosterone shots and all this, you know, testosterone creams, and it's altering their hormone levels because they're shooting it into their bloodstream. What I wanted to do is put stuff together where it was going to naturally balance out your hormone levels. So the mixture of herbs and constituents that I came up with actually increases your testosterone levels by, let's say, 20–25% because your body produces more testosterone and it regulates the production of estrogen.
Yeah. I just want to be honest. I take like a third of what the recommended dose is.
Also growth hormone, too. Growth hormone is a major factor, and the formula was designed to balance out your growth hormone levels as well.
It's amazing. Getting back into fluoride, what are they going to do with Harvard studies saying get it out of the water, cancer, IQ reductions? What are they going to do? We can put those on screen. Just Google Harvard study, IQ. How can they keep it in the water when it's totally on record and all their own EPA scientists are saying get it out, and FDA?
If you take a pea-size amount of toothpaste, you're supposed to, if you swallow a pea-size amount of toothpaste, you're supposed to call poison control. That's how dangerous it is. The good news is we are getting more support by, just by the general citizens by getting the information.
The government, I mean, at the scientist level says take it out, but the politicians won't.
Well, that's just because that's how the system works. I mean, they're not going to take it out because they know they don't want a bunch of healthy people around. I mean, hopefully, there is more science leading to the damaging effects of fluoride every single day, which is a good thing. And hopefully in our lifetime, hopefully in the next few years, we can completely get it out. I mean, look at all the other countries that don't even fluoridate their water.
Or are pulling it. Germany, England, they're pulling it.
And China, which is a big manufacturer of arms and everything, is shipping us all that fluoride, that toxic fluoride to put in our water systems.
And they put iodine in the water.
Heavily contaminated with, I've seen pictures of people at the water plants, the technicians that add it to the buckets, and this thick on the bottom of the bucket, they don't even know what it is.
Oh, yeah, no, there's local newscast of all places. Oklahoma did one another. I've aired them, where they went and tested, it says fluoride from China, and half of it's not even fluoride. It's a mixture of every poison they've got in China. They ship here for the idiot Americans' water.
That's because China gets rid of all their toxic waste by shipping it over here. All the lead and the arsenic and the cadmium.
And the melamine for the babies.
Everything. They just ship it over here. They say, well, we might as well,
I saw a statistic that 90+% of pharmaceuticals are made in China, including a lot of the vitamins.
That's right. That's right. And there's a lot of counterfeiting going on over in China, too. There's counterfeiters out there right now that are taking popular products. They're getting them manufactured in China. They're putting the exact label on them, and they're selling them on Amazon and selling them through eBay. So if you're looking for a good quality product out there, make sure you go to the source or make sure you go to someone reputable, because these counterfeiters are out there and they're taking over, and they're focusing on the nutrition industry, because the nutrition and supplement industry is growing at a rapid rate because people don't want to have to rely on their doctors anymore.
Wow. All right, InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free to get your Survival Shield, your Fluoride Shield, or your Super Male Vitality. And again, the Super Male Vitality, we just got pretty much a sample shipment. It'll be 4 to 6 weeks till we get more of both of these. InfoWarsLife.com. All right, Dr. Group, I want to come back in the 5 minutes for Dr. Blaylock and have you have the floor with any other points you want to talk about dealing with Obamacare. Stay with us. And then Dr. Blaylock.
This is GCN, the Genesis Communications Radio Network.
Alex Jones here with a very important announcement for truth seekers. We've carried a lot of amazing films and books over the years on the online video bookstore at Infowars.com. And out of all the titles we've carried, one stands out because it is just so chillingly convincing. And that's Dreams from My Real Father by Joel Gilbert, available at Infowars.com. This film exposes the fraud that Obama is like nothing I've seen. If you want to know who Obama's real daddy is, this is the film for you. Don't forget, your purchase supports our broadcast and our growing media network. You'll also find at InfoWarsShop.com None Dare Call a Conspiracy by Gary Allen, the book that woke me up. We're also carrying Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21 by Rosa Corey. This book is coffin nails to the globalist takeover. The Greater Good, the most professional and up-to-date film I've ever seen exposing the scourge that is vaccines. These titles and a lot more are all available at InfoWarsShop.com.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Dr. Russell Blaylock, medical doctor, getting into Obamacare. And he predicted exactly how it would be implemented, what would happen. I thought that he was a little severe. I didn't imagine they would be this brutal. Dr. Group, they're trying to break this country right now. And the reason they're claiming that the site's broken on purpose is because they don't want people to know that Obamacare is such a screw job because it's written that way, and that your premiums are going up because the site's broken. I mean, they really are con artists. And the average even politician I get on who's smart cannot comprehend things this diabolical. What do you think is going on with Obamacare?
I think it's a disaster, but I think it's actually can be a good thing, because I think that the way that you can look at it good is the more that it's a disaster, the more that people are going to look for other options for health care. If they look for other options like preventative care, like what everybody should be doing, taking care of their own health, it's very easy to maintain yourself in a healthy state. Don't put toxic chemicals in your body. Don't eat bad food. Don't eat GMOs. Avoid everything that can cause disease. And then you don't even need to worry about Obamacare. I mean, all that, again, even with Obamacare, they're still treating the symptoms and not the root cause. I mean, everybody needs to figure out what's causing my health.
Yeah, I mean, you
address that.
You drink a bunch every day, you smoke, you eat at McDonald's, you wonder why you weigh 400 pounds and die of cancer at 50. I mean,
it's not that hard. I mean, you take a shower every day to wash the outside of your skin. What do you do to clean the inside of your body? Because if your body's not clean inside, then you're going to start out with headaches, you're going to start out with joint pain, you're going to start out with all these things. Your body is telling you something is starting to happen. You don't just all of a sudden get something. It takes a while time. You might gain a little weight, you might have high blood pressure, you might be having signs of diabetes. Then you run to the doctor at the hospital or with Obamacare or whatever, and you get put on medications. Half those medications are going to cause more, they're all going to cause more damage. Medications cause damage. All that Obamacare is just a sick care system. All they do is just want to keep you sick, want you to die earlier. They want to control your,
They want you to die before you get the Medicare and Medicaid and the Social Security. And by the way, they admit that now. the architect, Rahm Emanuel's brother, Ezekiel, said, no, we're going to bankrupt the system. That's the plan.
Yeah.
And we do have death panels.
I mean, my whole thing is I hope it even backfires even more, because what we've seen is we've had actually people calling us up and say, look, I can't do Obamacare. I don't even want to do Obamacare. I have doctors that are asking me what to do for their patients naturally because they're getting out of Obamacare. I mean, we have a big-time backlash right now, and what I project is there's nowhere else to go but to natural medicine. I mean, that's the only true way to heal the body is naturally. You're not going to go anywhere, and you're not going to get better in the Obamacare system. Look what the healthcare system has done to this point. We have more diabetes, more heart disease, more cancer, everything exponentially.
Absolutely. In fact, for Blaylock, guys, will you find the Ezekiel Emanuel deal? I know we've aired that 10 times, but I mean, it's just amazing. We got 1 minute left, Dr. Group. Tell folks about your website.
My website is globalhealingcenter.com. People can go over there. I have a blog. We have a Facebook page, too, that you can go. And I'm always posting information. I mean, you can go in the search bar and just search for anything. It's not like we're trying to sell you a bunch of stuff. We're giving you information.
Oh, hell, it doesn't matter. The good guys, we've got to take over the market with the good, because they've convinced good guys to just sit back, and we're supposed to be like on the side of the street, you know, with a sign fighting the New World Order, homeless. No, we've got to take over the economy from them with quality and displace their fraud. Just like you couldn't get organic 15, 20 years ago. People started buying it. It was expensive. It displaced the other stuff. Now organic is coming down to the same price as the poison food.
Exactly.
Because we took over the market. Then it brought in more competition.
Yep, and that's what's happening. We've watched it happen. It's just people need to, you know, people are getting slapped in the face with this Obamacare, and they're saying, what do I need to do? I need to start taking responsibility for my own health. And what's really good about it is the fact that we're able to help more people every single day. And each person that gets helped, it doesn't have to be on prescriptions or gets off their prescription medications, less money for them to control things.
That's right. Dr. Edward Group, I want to thank you for working with us. I know you don't develop stuff for really anybody else. Thank you so much for working with InfoWars.
I've been a long-term fan, and thank you for doing what you do.
No, God bless you. Why does the United States spend the largest percentage of GDP in the world on healthcare? Why do we have the highest cancer rates on the planet, the highest rates of diabetes, autism, and every other major disease? It all comes down to one thing. We are what we eat. Our food is devoid of nutrition and processed with poisons and additives. Our water is filled with toxic poisons and big pharma runoff. All of this has been engineered by design. We can turn the tide against the eugenicist by giving ourselves the nutrients our body desperately needs. To learn more, visit InfoWarsHealth.com. The site is literally packed with audio and video featuring top health professionals who don't bow down to big pharma. The fight against the New World Order starts with you, and you can't stand against the machine if you're sick, tired, and obese. When you visit InfoWarsHealth.com, be sure and check out the catalog with nearly 400 life-changing products, and get free shipping when you sign up for AutoShip.
Strategic relocation is a systematic way to think strategically in the future about how do I safeguard.
Renowned author and expert Joel Skousen.
The U.S. isn't building huge underground bases and bunkers because of some terrorist threat. They know that a massive nuclear attack is coming. They want that attack to come.
Joel Skousen is renowned as one of the world's foremost experts in strategic relocation and the securing of your home.
What I tell people is that you do have time. We talk about natural disasters, the health environment. We talk about pollution, the water quality. My personal experience about being in every one of these states, most people won't even be ready, won't be able to get out of town because there'll be absolute panic.
There is no preparedness without strategy. This Christmas, give the gift of preparedness. Strategic Relocation, the film, with Joel Skousen and Alex Jones. Available only at InfoWarsShop.com or by calling 888-253-3139. In the last 50 years, iodine has been phased out of our staple foods and replaced with the halogen bromine, a practice now banned in nations around the world. Guess what else is in the halogen family? Fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here. In 1924, the federal government did the right thing and encouraged salt producers to add iodine. It's the good halogen on the periodic table, and the results are on record. Reports documented a 15-point IQ increase in areas that had previously been deficient in iodine. Bottom line, iodine is important. Unbound, clean, in a glycerin base. Nascent iodine was the answer for myself and my family. You will find Survival Shield Nascent Iodine exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWars Life Survival Shield Nascent Iodine isn't just for emergencies. I take it every day. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are into the third hour on this Wednesday edition. And Dr. Russell Blaylock is our guest for the next 52 minutes or so. BlaylockWellnessCenter.com is his amazing website. And I gush over some of my guests that have been so accurate, but I've got to say, with Dr. Blaylock 4 years ago, during the whole H1N1 hoax, he was so on target that it would make you get the regular flu, that it would paralyze people, and he got attacked nationally, and then he got proven completely right. He just has a lot of courage, and he travels the world speaking to groups of scientists and medical doctors. He is a retired board-certified neurosurgeon and, of course, professor who taught brain surgery. And he invented many forms of brain surgery and procedures. So he's a brain surgeon. You got the term. Hey, I'm no brain surgeon, but I know, Obama's a liar. But, I mean, he is a brain surgeon. And, my dad is a dentist and oral surgeon and managed 22 clinics and then helped manage nationally for another medical firm. And he was telling me the same stuff the last few years that Blaylock was. And my dad did get out of medical management 2 months ago. In fact, the week of Obamacare. He said they are criminally trying to wreck it. They have come to us and said, play ball with Obama and do what we say, and you can do whatever you want. And with certain HMO and insurance companies, my dad said, this is mafia. And my dad, and I'm 40 in 2 months, folks. My dad's only like 63. My dad could have kept working for another decade. He's in great shape and loves working. He said, I'm not going to be involved in something where they can put me in jail anytime. He had to testify at the legislature. They were going into other medical groups that he didn't work for, but he had to go and defend them, and literally arresting heads of the companies and stuff for a T not being crossed, and shutting down healthcare chains, non-dental medical stuff, criminally wrecking it. And Dr. Blaylock, 6 years ago when Obama was running, 4 years ago, 3 years ago when they passed Obamacare, 6 months ago on the show, he was saying stuff so horrible about it. And I did scan over the bill and the 10,000 pages of writers, and I knew it was there. But he was saying stuff so horrible that I thought maybe it's not that bad, because how will they get away with it? Everything he said came true, is coming true, and now he's going to tell you, because he told us then, what was going to come up next. And, folks, I don't have the staff to do this. You've got to go pull up Dr. Russell Blaylock, Alex Jones, search it in YouTube. You'll get him 6 months ago, a year ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago, saying their plan. Because he's read all their books. He's followed how socialist health care is rolled out with the fascist above it. And he is now here to break down their plan. He said it's not going to work. It's going to wreck everything. It's going to double, triple prices. And then they're going to claim it's just, I mean, he literally knows more than anybody I've talked to about Obamacare. Okay, so he's got the floor for the next 50 minutes. That's a long intro. But we either defeat this or it's meant to bring down America. This is a Cloward and Piven bankruptcy plan to domesticate us. And Dr. Blaylock, I want you to recap how you knew how bad it would be, what you think of where it's going. People call it a disaster. You said they were going to call it that it's a plan. So no one knows more about this than you. And again, I'm not trying to kiss your butt here. It's true. You absolutely have been 100% on target. How are you so on target compared to everybody else?
Well, Alex, I spent most of my adult life studying collectivist systems, socialism, fascism, National Socialism, Communism, Marxism, Leninism. I've read a considerable amount of, not only in books and testimony before Congress and investigating committees. It has taken me a lifetime to get a grasp of how this system works, what they want, how they attain what they want. And there's a very brilliant writer, Gerhard Niemeyer, who has studied this his entire life. And what he shows that all revolutionary systems, the first step that you have to take is to bring in the revolution, you have to destroy everything that existed before. He calls it the total critique of society. And if you look at socialist, communist systems around the world, that's essentially what was done. Now, some of the liberal groups, the liberal socialist, softer forms of Marxism-Leninism, they try to merge pre-existing society with newer revolutionary concepts. And that's more of a transitional stage. What we see is that the ultimate plan is total replacement of the old world order. Now, you remember when Bush made his announcement for the UN that we were bringing in a new world order. Well, when you bring in a new world order, that means you have to dismantle the old world order. So when you look at what they've done in during this administration and the Clinton administration, going back quite a few years, but particularly it's ramped up a lot recently. When you look at that, what you see is a dismantling of all our institutional systems that were based on the founding of this republic, including the economic system, the cultural system, the moral basis of America, its Christian heritage. Everything is being dismantled. The plan for replacing that, of course, has been written hundreds of years ago. It's been a piecemeal plan. And if you read their literature, you know, not the conservative literature, not the opposition literature, but read their literature, they outline these things quite plainly, or what they plan to do. Population control, reduce birth rates, eliminate large percentages of the population, total regulation of all individuals, destruction of the concept of an individual, which is the very basis of collectivism. So when you look at all of this, and medical care systems, one of the things I looked at, the English transition to national health care and what a disaster it turned into. And I tried to warn my colleagues 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I explained to them the history of how England lost its medical care system, its free system. Most refused to listen. They made the very same mistakes the British physicians made. They thought they were too smart to be fooled by the politicians. Then there was a group that thought, well, the politicians would be reasonable, and if we could sit down with them and negotiate with them and help them control costs, and if they saw that we were honest and really trying to help, then they would work with us. Some of them thought, well, if we get on the committees of these various national socialist medical groups, we can help mold it and protect the position.
Exactly. You just hit the key on every front. Good people think the system's like them and think that they can negotiate with it. And then with the Delphi technique, the collectivists play along with that. But literally behind closed doors in their own literature, they admit they're just a criminal group. But please continue. Sorry.
Well, you know, this is the methodology that has been used in virtually every country that eventually slides into socialism, is that you've got to do this slow dismantling of everything that exists. And you have to trick people. You know, there's a great writer that was from Poland, and he wrote a book called The Captive Mind, and in it he describes what's called the Ketman. And he said the Ketman was a very old concept in the Arab world, in which when you wanted to defeat an enemy, you pretended you were his friend. You pretended to believe what he believed, and you associated with him, and you would move up in his power structure because he thought you were with him and shared his philosophy. And he said the whole time it's a deception, so that when you finally get strong enough, then you crush him. and that's the Kettman technique. Well, that's what's basically used is the British system. The British politician went to the physician, made the physician think that he was his friend, that he would work with him, that he'd have him on panels making decisions. And, of course, if you read the people, Nairn Bevan, who was one of the chief architects of the British healthcare system at that time, it was all a ruse. The idea was to dismantle the existing medical care system. And, of course, there was one disaster after another, and it's still a disaster.
And then they use the disasters they create to get more power each time, and they even write that in their books. I mean, take the arrogance, and we're going to play the clip after the break. Dr. Blaylock joins us here, really one of the greatest minds when it came to predicting and now being accurate about Obamacare. He'll tell us where it's going to go now and his ideas to reverse this and defeat it. That's why he's really here today. But look at the main architect of it, the eugenicist Ezekiel Emanuel, the brother of the White House chief of staff who said, you know, create the crisis, basically. He said, of course we're going to bankrupt healthcare, and that was the plan. And now that they've done it, they always go, of course there's death panels. Of course we want to wreck things. Well, I want to slap their butt in jail with handcuffs. They're admitting to their fraud. Why are they so arrogant, Dr. Blaylock?
Well, the arrogance comes from the fact of their power. They essentially own the media, you know, through their influence. They own a great deal of the publishing. And so the opinion-making in America is being manipulated and controlled by them. So they feel a sense of absolute power that there's very little that the average American can do to resist. And, of course, most of America is being entertained to death. They're watching football, and they're watching movies, and they're playing video games, and they're not really studying and paying attention to what's happening. This is one of the reasons, you know, people ask me, well, you're a conspiracy theorist. And I said, well, you know, there's two people that would make such a statement, a negative statement about conspiracy ideas. One is the person who's an ideologue and doesn't want to believe it, and the other is the person that's totally uneducated. They're not looking at the issues. They're not trying to connect the dots. They're not studying deeply all of these events. And so they don't even know what's occurring, far less a logical analysis of the events. So that's your two basic groups that would make such a statement. And the other thing you have to realize, well, who created this idea that anybody believes in a conspiracy is on the fringe? Well, it's the conspirators. They control a great deal of the media, a great deal of publishing, movies, and so they put out the idea and hammered it home repeatedly that if you believe in conspiracies, you're crazy. Of course, you know, you've quoted before even that Rockefeller himself said, if I'm accused of conspiracies and doing these things, it's true, I am.
That's right. In his own book written by him that came out in 2004, Reflections by David Rockefeller, let's pull up the quote. He said, yeah, I'm conspiring to set up a planetary world government run by private interest.
Sure. And if you read some of the newer books that's been written on these very rich power elite, quotes in the book repeatedly, they say that, you know, we should rule the world. And, of course, comes from Plato. You know, if you look at any history of socialism,
that's where it all comes from.
With Plato.
All Plato. Man, that guy is so influential. But expanding on that, Dr. Blaylock, my big issue is if they just wanted to dumb down and kill off the poor, I would be against it because that's immoral and always leads to other stuff. But because, you know, they teach positive and negative eugenics in school, but we all know there's the real social engineering eugenics that the inner members of this Jacobin program that goes back to France, picking up Plato's ideas, you know, got 200 and something years ago. But their biggest crime is they're actually targeting the intelligent and the pure and the virtuous, and really want to build a very ugly world and really just love dominating. They're really a bunch of sadists and are fundamentally evil psychopaths and sociopaths attracted to the machinery of playing God and are anathema. I mean, let's talk about that. Let's talk about their philosophy from your deep research, where Obamacare is, how well you think their program's going. Because I think they've overdone it a little too much. They're wrecking things so fast, I think it's really starting to backfire. And is there a way to beat them?
Well, yeah, you know, I think what people need to understand is, like I said, this is a total critique of society. This is erasing the old order. This Obama plan was designed to be a massive failure. And what you're going to hear next is, well, you know, we tried to do it the free market way. We tried to mix government with free market to make it as palatable to the conservatives as possible. But look what a mess it makes. You just can't mix government control with the private market, individual interest, and greed, because it created this horrible mess that we're experiencing with this Affordable Care Act. So this is to demonstrate to the public you can't mix the two. And the next step is, well, what we need to do is scrap the whole thing and have a single-payer system, which is the national health care system we see in Canada and England and other countries, which have been even a bigger disaster. But this is the way to bring it in, to demonstrate to the public you can't mix capitalism with government control. That the only efficient and just way to do it is have government totally in control. So I think they're sabotaging their own system. I think it was built to fail. They knew all this. They built their website so it would not work. They've particularly designed the health care bill so that it would throw people out of work. It would make people become...
And by the way, let me just interrupt you. I'm going to give our listeners an assignment, a Liberty assignment, because I literally don't have the crew to do this. You said this 4 years ago and a year ago and 6 months ago. The videos are on YouTube with hundreds of thousands of views each. I want listeners, and we'll put it on Infowars.com, to go back and watch and listen to that and cut in where you said this years ago. You're not just saying this now. You literally said it will wreck everything on purpose. None of it will work. It'll be a total disaster, and then they'll bring in even more control and give the government dictatorial power over health care to, quote, fix it. And now they say in the news, make Obama a dictator so he can fix the health care. You literally predicted it, and it proves it's a criminal conspiracy, because it's not just you predicting it. They've had a bunch of administration people, including Emanuel, we're going to play the clip now, come out and basically say, well, yeah, the insurance companies know we're going to get rid of individual health care and bring in the national system. So they're admitting the criminal plan, and it's only myself and you and a few others saying this. And I watch the news, and they're debating deck chairs on the Titanic. Let's play the guy that helped write the bill, the eugenicist, the brother of the Chicago mayor, Ezekiel Emanuel, on Fox. Here it is.
People who knew the law as it was being written knew the president wasn't telling the truth. The grandfather provision written into the law itself was too narrow. And frankly, they wrote a regulation intentionally trying to get people out of the individual market. Look, they want the people to go into the exchanges because there's a lot of people in the individual market. The whole point of the exchanges is to close down the individual insurance market over time.
The insurance company,
they wanted to move millions of people into the exchanges.
Insurance companies Insurance companies don't like the individual market as it's constructed. They see the future. That individual market is going away. They don't want to invest in it.
But that's not what the president said.
Let me finish. Let me switch.
And it just goes on and on. I mean, this is so sick. And they calmly sit up there and take over everything and wreck it. I mean, foreign air forces bombing us couldn't hurt us this bad. Dr. Blaylock, I'm sorry. Go ahead and make your point about their program.
Well, I told the physicians in my hospital 25 years ago, I said, you know, you're being tricked. You're being made to think that these people are reasonable and want to work with you, and that they're truly interested in getting people good health care and making it affordable. I said, that's your basic mistake. Because if you read the architects of this in England and other places, you find out they have no interest whatsoever in health care itself or in being reasonable. They have a plan in mind, which is the total control, collectivization of humankind, erasure of the individual, and creating this absolute control system. Anything they do to work with you, put you on panels and recommendations from you, it's nothing but a farce. And all of that's come true. And a lot of them began to wake up and called me later and said, you know, you were right. They've destroyed all of our practices. They've turned us into criminals. We're scared to death. We don't know what to do. We're afraid to practice medicine. And of course, that's what you do. You make it where the individual no longer wants to be an individual. He wants to be a collective.
They literally come to the physician managers, for those that don't know, and say, give money to the Democratic Party, get in bed with us, you can do whatever you want. I mean, these are mafia.
Well, the collectivist idea is that if you'll give up some of your rights, we'll protect you. But you have to act as a collective, not individual. The enemy of socialism is individualism. They don't think that the average person, and that includes, college graduates, PhDs, a lot of intelligent people, they don't think that you're smart enough to be able to conduct your own individual business, that there's the elites that know far greater than you would ever know, and they know what's best for everyone. And this is the danger of centralization and socialism, is that the individual is just a cog in the wheel of the machinery of the state. And if you're a cog that's against the smooth running of the machine, they file you down. They destroy the individual. People need to understand this is a war against individuals. You hear Hillary Clinton talk about the village. The child is to be raised by the village. If you read their literature, they constantly talk about the mass man, the collective, the greater good. The individual is the enemy of socialism. So these people out here, these libertarians, all these little college students who are so enraptured with this president we have, most of these kids don't want their parents telling them what to do. They don't want anyone telling them how to dress. They're in their private lives want to be total individuals, yet they're working tirelessly to create a collectivist system where they'll be told everything.
Unbelievably well said. Unbelievably well said, Dr. Blaylock. We got to go to break. BlaylockWellnessCenter.com. Come back and get back into that, sir. Wow.
We're
Powerful
on the march.
info.
The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gate, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filters today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139. A little over a year ago, I began to do a lot of research into why, even if I had a pretty good-sized meal, that I was still starving. And my research led me to a well-known fact that most of the soils that we grow our crops on here in the United States and across the industrialized world are almost completely depleted of almost all of the key minerals and trace elements that our bodies need to rebuild themselves, fight off cancer, and be healthy. I then searched out the best vitamin and mineral company out there and discovered Youngevity. The Youngevity products are designed to give you the real nutrition you need, and once you've got that, you don't have to eat as much to be satisfied. I've lost 37 pounds in 2 months, simply getting the vitamins and minerals I need. Check it out for yourself. It's incredible. Go to InfoWarsTeam.com today and order your first canister of Beyond Tangy Tangerine Complete Multivitamin Mineral Complex Dietary Supplement. That's InfoWarsTeam.com. Alex Jones here, and I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand. along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today.
He aligns himself with the truth, and it's time for you to choose a side. You're listening to Alex Jones.
Chaos is hanging around. Put your ear to the ground and shudder from the sound. The death machine.
All right, Dr. Russell Blaylock is our guest, BlaylockWellnessCenter.com. And again, folks, he said over and over again in the last 6 years since Obama got into office, when this goes in, it's going to wreck everything on purpose. It's meant to be a disaster. The big insurance companies like it because they're the globalists that want collectivism. Because this shuts down all their competition, allows them to cut the quality of care, charge you whatever you want. They sit offshore and get the money. So it's socialism and communism on the bottom, fascism on the top, and then they can carry out their eugenics. They can, the death panels. Remember they made jokes about it, and so there's no death panels, and then as soon as it passed, they had the case for killing Granny in Newsweek and said, yeah, we are going to kill people. I mean, the socialist healthcare system in Europe chops women open to steal their babies a month early with cesarean sections so that the woman from Italy who was visiting England can't get away. I mean, the government is out of control because when there's no checks and balances, every criminal interest out there can basically get away with anything they want. It is totally and completely, absolutely out of control, ladies and gentlemen. And it is so frustrating to see things like this going on and to see us in the grip of these con artists who then screw things up on their own record and then give us more power, we'll fix it. Dr. Blaylock, you were talking about the young trendies at the colleges that want socialism, communism, collectivism, feel like they're part of the power structure, who are literally letting Jeffrey Dahmer into their house. Please continue, sir. You've got the floor.
Well, you know, and you've got to go deeper. Everybody, you know, that I listen to, they start screaming about Obama this, Obama that. And I constantly bring them back. I say, you've got to quit blaming Obama for creating this. This guy's not smart enough to create anything. All this blabber we hear about what a brilliant man is, he's not that smart. He's smart like a fox, but he's an entertainer. He's like Clinton. You remember Clinton? He openly said, I don't care to be president. I like to play. And that's what Obama does. He plays golf. He goes on vacations. He's being fed this. All of this material that we're talking about, the destructive program, they were hatched in tax-free foundations, Bilderberger, CFR, decades before. I mean, no serious scholar would think that this bill was in any way written by Obama or that it was written within the last 2 years or 4 years. It was written decades ago. They've been working on this and molding this for a very long time. Now, what happens if you look at, well, who makes up the board of the tax-free foundation? Who makes up the bulk of the members, particularly the central controlling members of CFR and Bilderberger and Trilateral Commission? It's all CEOs of big companies make up the vast majority of membership, multinational corporation heads, and multinational media heads. It's very powerful. What most conservatives would think of as capitalists. Well, they're not capitalists in the strict sense. They don't even like capitalism. This is one of the things that took me many years to understand. Multinational corporations detest capitalism. They like control. They like things to be regulated. And they learned long ago the best way to do that is by influencing government. putting people in government that you can control. Most of these bills we see, like this Affordable Care Act, came from tax-free foundations and special foundations and Council on Foreign Relations committees on medical care. That's where these things are born. They're written. They have armies of scholars working on them, all the details. We delude ourselves to think this is all coming from government. It's not. It's coming from multinational corporations, people worth billions, hundreds of billions of dollars. These are the controllers, the manipulators, the creators of all of this destructive collectivism that we're suffering under. You look at every system, whether it be the Soviet Union, Nazi Germany, fascist Italy, Cuba. Behind all of those are these people in the shadows with the massive wealth who are promoting it, encouraging it, covering for it, writing all of the programs for it. It's not some crazed revolutionary dressed in fatigues. No one of any real sophistication would believe that. And if you read the literature carefully and deeply, do your research and quit piddling with entertainment nonsense, because we're in a serious period here. If you do your research, use your logic, connect the dots, it'll be like a light came on. You'll begin to see things. And then as you understand it deeply, you can predict things. Things start making sense because you've seen it before. It's not that I have some great predictive prophetic power. It's that I've read deeply into how all of these systems came about. I know their methodology. I know what they're doing. I've read their literature. I go on these sites of the Tax-Free Foundation, read their statements and plans for the future. And so I pretty well know what they're planning for the world. Well, one of them is use the medical care system to reduce the number of elderly. Elderly are extremely expensive for a society. And so they hatched a lot of plans to deny health care and encourage the early demise of the elderly. Well, at the same time, they're deceiving the elderly into believing that this is that the government officials and these people in the shadows are their best friends because they're giving them free health care. But if you look at the Canadian health care system, for instance, the average family of a man and a woman and 2 children are paying $11,500 in taxes, far greater than they'd pay for private insurance. And when you look at what they're getting for what they're paying, it's a fraction of the care we get under the American system. So Canadians are denied health care. It takes them 4 months to have elective surgery, even longer for some cases. Some cases are totally denied. And this is the things we don't hear about. Well, you're buying into that, people. These elderly who like Medicare, Medicaid, and all of these things. Well, that's the candy that attracts you. Once you're in the system, then they start the rationing. Every socialist system goes through a prolonged stage of progressive, intense rationing, which means denying care. A recent study in England showed that they're killing over 10,000 people a year by restricting and refusing health care, mainly to the elderly. So, you need to quit listening to this left-wing nonsense you hear on the major networks, which is nothing but idiotic propaganda, and start doing your own research, start looking deeply into this and educating your children. You said, what can we do about this? Well, education plays a big part because first you have to understand what's going on, the methodology that they're going to use and that they're using. It's the only way to fight it, and you've got to educate your children. You can't just send them off to a university and they come back this brainwashed left-wing radical extremist. And unfortunately, most parents are not equipped to combat that. When their children come home spewing all this Marxist-Leninist talk, the parents don't know how to refute it because they don't really understand the American system. They don't understand the free market. They don't understand the dangers of centralization and collectivism.
Well, I've learned about this firsthand where I've worked with people that claim that they're kind of libertarian liberals, and then you find out later they're actually Marxist, and they will lie, they will cheat, they will do anything. And it's really a criminal energy. I don't even call them liberals. They're authoritarians claiming to be liberals. They're parasites, and the Republican leadership obviously is bought and paid for by the same big corporate interest. But historically, these big corporate interests that work with collectivists to get control of civilizations for markets, they end up getting their throats slit as well. I mean, I just don't understand this fascination with evil. And now how they're announcing the euthanasia, the fourth euthanasia, the shutting down of the doctors. I mean, it really is a horrible system. How do we reverse this? Because they've got our kids in the public schools. Get the kids out of the schools, as you just said, Dr. Blaylock. But you foresaw exactly how it would be implemented with just stunning accuracy to the T. So, A, what is the state of it? How is their takeover going? How is their dismantling going? B, how do we reverse it? What's coming next if we don't reverse it? I mean, give us your perspectives, your diagnosis.
Well, it's much further advanced than most people realize. We're very close to a totalitarian system. The takeover of America, people don't understand. Since we were the leading power in the world, this is the plum that the collectivists have always wanted. If they take America, they own the world, because most of the rest of the world is dependent on the United States. The United States has always been the resistance to this collectivist wave taking over the world. Now, if you look at Europe, a lot of Europeans are starting to wake up. They're fed up with collectivism. They want individual rights and freedom. They're seeing the collectivist welfare state and what it does to human beings, how it destroys lives, it destroys family, it destroys society. So they're ready for something different. They just don't know how to do it, because this generation in Europe, a great number of them have never lived in a free society, a truly free society. And what the enemies hope is that if they can take the United States, it'll stop this reversal that's starting to take place in Europe. And unfortunately, the Americans are some of the most zealous Marxist-Leninists. They're the collectivists that think they're leading the vanguard. And the attitude of the intellectual in America is that, well, the rest of the world messed up collectivism because they're not smart like us. We're Americans, and we can make it work.
That was my next point, is that for 200 years, since the Jacobins in France, as you know, or 220 years or so, they've been trying to make it work. But that's their mid-level and low-level people. Getting into the deeper writings of the higher-level collectivists, they're always totally mentally ill, into the occult, just really bad people that are attracted to power.
Well, you always see that. You know, if you study some of the great work that's been written on the psychopathic personality, what they tell you, the psychopath gravitates toward positions of power because that's what he likes. He wants to control people. He has no empathy. He has no compassion. So if you look at percentages of psychopaths, they're much higher in the larger megatropolis than they are in small cities, because that's where the power is. Well, the psychopath is also attracted to organizations that have great power in the world. The more power, the more you're going to see a higher percentage of psychopathic personality. Some of the things I've heard, and people would be shocked, because I travel among people sometimes that are quite powerful and wealthy, that they're not on our side. And they're quite candid, and the things they say is shocking. They would never say it publicly. But hearing them say things about, we should sterilize all the old people. I mean, the poor people. We should kill all the old people. You know, they're worthless. We should have a certain age after 55 or 60 where you're automatically killed. I mean, things that are just shocking. And, of course, they don't include themselves in any of these programs. They're always excluded.
They are fundamentally greedy and hateful and wear it like an armor. And I know high-level medical doctors do get into those high-level circles. And I've talked to other medical doctors that have treated royalty, you name it, and the stuff that they hear. But myself, I've been approached, off record for business deals, radio deals, TV stuff. And people say, well, why don't you tell us who did it? Well, it was under confidence. If I ever violate a confidence, it's like a doctor, patient, or lawyer, client. You don't, in the media, you don't violate a confidence unless it's a total criminal action, then you have to. But the point is, I don't give up sources. And they're point blank. They go, listen, the fact that you understand this means you should be one of us. And, of course, that's how they say it to everybody. And the public are animals. They're scum. They want to be slaves. You're never going to help them. They'll tear you apart if you ever. And in a way, they've turned the public into that. And I get that that's partially true, but it doesn't matter. They're even worse. And I had the head of one of the big 6 banks. I was on a first-class airline thing to New York, and he was on that. He was visiting his dad, who's a retired general in San Antonio. As people could figure out who it is if they do enough research. And he said, off record, buddy, yeah, we're setting up a private corporate world government, and the people don't care, and that's why they deserve it. And, you'd be well served to join the right team. And they'll just adapt to our tyranny. You understand? You ever think of that, Alex? That you say people can adapt and overcome? How about they adapt to what we're doing to them? They'll put up with anything. And I had this epiphany, and this guy was perfectly sharp, super smart, had evil intelligence in his eyes, got up after a 3-hour flight, suit was perfect, put on a black overcoat, looked like a guy out of a movie, and he just laughed at me. And it was just like, man, I have just flown with the devil. And it's just, they're so inhuman.
Sure. Well, we've seen this repeatedly. Anybody who's read the history of revolution, you see these personalities that have no consideration for the public good. I'm sure you've seen the interview Russo did with one of the Rockefellers. And he told him, he said, well, we'll give you some identification and you'll be with us and you'll be protected. He said, well, what about all the other people? He said, what do you care about them? So you see this callousness. One of the things I look on the internet and I see where everybody's making fun of people that go to Walmart and they have all these pictures of the Walmart people, and you read the comments below. They say, oh, they ought to kill all this trash, all this garbage. They're just subhuman. Well, on a lower level, that's the same way they look at everybody else in society. To them, the vast majority of the population is just a huge population in a Walmart.
But what's even sicker is they then try to dumb down and sabotage people to make their claim that we're scum true.
Sure.
That's what makes it 10 times more evil.
Well, that's why they destroyed the educational system, because they've shown it through the polls that a large percentage of the graduating seniors from high school have no idea when the Civil War was fought. They have no idea who Christopher Columbus was. I mean, it's just things that are just unbelievable. And you think, we spend more on education than any country in the entire world.
They spend more to screw them up, and we have the government documents.
We're so uneducated about things that you just essentially have to know. Well, you see, this is another thing, Alex.
Hold on, Dr. Blaylock. We got to go to break. These are hard breaks. Final segment, sir. Come back and get to that point straight ahead.
By now, you may know that a Bitcoin is the first decentralized currency that's easily transferred from person to person over the internet. No bank needed. This means lower fees and accounts can never be frozen, limited, or closed. Plus, a large number of businesses and merchants already accept Bitcoins, and Bitcoins are easily exchanged for dollars, euros, and more. If you're interested in making money in the Bitcoin market right away, and by right away we mean start making money today, please visit us at cloudhashing.com. Cloudhashing.com is one of the fastest growing Bitcoin miners in the world, delivering the highest profits to people just like you. To get started, join us at cloudhashing.com and you will start mining Bitcoins right away and get paid daily. You heard correctly. You will receive payments every single day. And the best part, you do not need a computer or need any experience in mining Bitcoins. It's perfect for everyone. Learn more at cloudhashing.com. Just like it sounds, cloudhashing.com. Start making money today at cloudhashing.com.
It's been said, those who control the food control the people. Are you concerned about GMO foods making you sick and affecting your mind? Many people suffer from lack of energy, insomnia, loss of stamina, weight gain, and the inability to think clearly. Genetically modified crops, processed foods, and toxic chemicals can compromise your health and are silently destroying your digestive system, which accounts for 80% of your immune system. Take back control of your health with Pro EM1 Probiotic from Terraganics. Pro EM1 Probiotic helps protect your body against irritable bowel syndrome, constipation, Crohn's disease, celiac disease, diabetes, the common cold, and much more. And including a powerful probiotic like Pro EM1 is part of your daily routine, puts you back in control and prevents you from becoming a mindless zombie manipulated by the pharmaceutical and GMO agendas. Call Terraganics at 866-369-3678 or visit Terraganics.com. TERAGANIX.com.
In the last 50 years, iodine has been phased out of our staple foods and replaced with the halogen bromine, a practice now banned in nations around the world. Guess what else is in the halogen family? Fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here. In 1924, the federal government did the right thing and encouraged salt producers to add iodine. It's the good halogen on the periodic table, and the results are on record. Reports documented a 15-point IQ increase in areas that had previously been deficient in iodine. Bottom line, iodine is important. Unbound, clean, in a glycerin base. Nascent iodine was the answer for myself and my family. You will find Survival Shield Nascent Iodine exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWars Life Survival Shield Nascent Iodine isn't just for emergencies. I take it every day. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
No matter how hard you try, you can't stop us now. No matter how hard you try, you can't stop us now.
Final segment with Dr. Blaylock. I've got to go to a family funeral tomorrow in East Texas, so it'll be David Knight doing the show. Then I'll host from East Texas on the road Friday with David Knight. I'll be calling in tomorrow, too. We're getting the Groupon that was censored from the Super Bowl with their pro-Second Amendment ad tomorrow. That'll be important. I'm going to air a special report that was going to be on the Nightly News tonight, but I want to air it in overdrive coming up. Dr. Blaylock, you got cut off by that break. I'm sorry, they're satellite breaks for the station, so they're hard breaks. You were saying another thing, another important point, and then we had to go to break. What was that point, sir?
Yeah, that's all right. Well, one of the things that I've noticed, I'm 68 years old. I've seen a fair bit of history. One of the things I've noticed that has just changed drastically in the last 20, 30 years, an incredible apathy of people. I've never seen anything like it. For instance, there's a case in Georgia where children who bought Christmas cards that had references to Jesus or the true meaning of Christmas, they took up their cards, took them away from them. They didn't want any such Christmas cards. You know, if you say Happy Holidays or Happy Wiccan Witch Day, then that's fine.
Which is a clear violation of the First Amendment. They can personally hand out whatever they want.
But the point being is that the parents didn't really react. One or two parents showed displeasure. In another case where they were telling the children they need to go on an Islamic tour. You need to go to this museum, and they were getting indoctrinated in Islamic faith, and they had to read the Quran, and some schools they were having to dress in their Islamic dress, and so on and so on. And yet the parents just apathetically accepted it and signed the release forms and the permission forms. And I'm seeing this all over. Every kind of program that's just an absolute outrage by the TSA abuse, outrage by the new militarization of the police, and on and on and on. And it's always met with apathy. Well, you know, that's just the way it is. Well, we need to be protected against the terrorists. Well, we need to know what people are thinking and protected against the shooters. And they take their guns. They do one thing after another, and it's always met with apathy. Now, part of that is exhaustion because we're inundated from every angle, and that's one of the things Pavlov taught Stalin. That if you take an animal and you exhaust it, you can make it do almost anything you want it to. You can the other thing is all these massive vaccinations, fluoride, aluminum, all these things we know that produce apathy in the human brain. I think that, there's a real push for people taking psychotropic-type drugs. Large numbers of women are on those things. So they're in an apathetic state. They can't really respond emotionally. So one thing is let's fight this apathy. Get people involved. When a school board allows something like that, or a child to be abused by some ridiculous attack on Christianity, they need to all work to have all of them removed from office.
You're right. We have to get out of the trance-like state and get out of the state of just being broke back, putting up with whatever they do. We have to learn to resist, because resistance, the spirit of resistance to tyranny, is victory. BlaylockWellnessCenter.com. I know you have a newsletter with Newsmax.com as well. You never want to plug any of the great things you do at the Wellness Center, but in the 30 seconds we've got left, how do folks get your newsletter?
Well, they can go to that website and they can sign up for the newsletter there. One of the most important things of all is to pray and return to your understanding of your relationship to God and to Jesus Christ. That's being humiliated now, and people... Sir,
I want to let you finish. We're back in 60 seconds. Finish that point. We're going into overdrive with Dr. Blaylock, Infowars.com/show. You can find the video feed there, an audio feed.
Visit GCNlive.com today.
Alex Jones here with a very important announcement for truth seekers. We've carried a lot of amazing films and books over the years on the online video bookstore at Infowars.com. And out of all the titles we've carried, one stands out because it is just so chillingly convincing. And that's Dreams from My Real Father by Joel Gilbert, available at Infowars.com. This film exposes the fraud that Obama is like nothing I've seen. If you want to know who Obama's real daddy is, this is the film for you. Don't forget, your purchase supports our broadcast and our growing media network. You'll also find at InfoWarsShop.com None Dare Call It Conspiracy by Gary Allen, the book that woke me up. We're also carrying Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21 by Rosa Corey. This book is coffin nails to the globalist takeover. The Greater Good, the most professional and up-to-date film I've ever seen exposing the scourge that is vaccines. These titles and a lot more are all available at InfoWarsShop.com.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Only got about a minute here in this segment to be able to go to the special report by John Bound on the open discussion of dictatorship in Congress, the fact that Obama is becoming a dictator. In fact, we're not in danger of going into pure authoritarianism. We're already deep into it, but the bottom's falling out. Dr. Blaylock, you were saying get back to God. That's why the state always attacks God or any belief in religion, because they want to be God. The state is God, but you're right. We need to get back to God. We need to hit our knees to Jesus Christ and ask for God to soften people's hearts to not want to be collectivist slaves.
Well, people need to read their Bible and read it very closely. Read the interpretations, the analyses, because if you take it word by word and you pay attention, you'll see everything that's happening today was predicted. Everything that we need to do in response is told. So if we read our Bibles, see the sacrifice that was made for us, and the fact that this message from God was given to us 1,000 years ago on how to deal with this, that's our answer. And so people need to return to that. They're trying to humiliate us, make us look like fools who think of these things, with the elevation of science to the all-powerful. All things have to go through the filter of science. Well, I've spent my whole life in science. I know a lot of science. And I can tell you that the truth is God created everything. Evolution's nonsense. They know it's nonsense, but they readily admit The only reason we adhere to socialism and evolution is because without it, we would have to believe in God, and we don't want to. But the evidence is on the side of God as the creator.
It's overwhelming, Doctor.
Should be.
It's overwhelming. I have studied the elites, and none of them are atheists. At the top, they are all into the occult. They all believe they're going to become God. And so they're trying to act like God, but the fruits of these people is living nightmare. I mean, it's like if you go to a restaurant and the food's terrible, you know it's a bad restaurant. We know collectivism is slavery.
Well, you know, if you look at the historians who write most about the origins of politics, it originated from Gnosticism. And Gnosticism is what we consider occultism, and it's growing like wildfire. And as you say, all of these people at the top were Gnostics. They're enemies of Christianity. They're enemies of people who believe in God. So they're occultic, and most of them were theosophists. Jimmy Carter was a theosophist. I mean, it's amazing.
Hitler was a member of that society.
Well, you know, they're created by the Russian Blavatsky, and I just read one of the great historical works on it by an Oxford scholar named James Webb, and he goes into meticulous history of all the people throughout history who belonged, and its enormous control. This was a very powerful organization.
And they believe they're dialing in to spiritual entities.
Sure, and Lenin was a member of the Theosophy, and so was Stalin, and so was Trotsky. So was Hitler's henchmen. They were all members of the Theosophy group. They were trained by it. They got many of their programs out of Theosophy. Most people don't know that the youth groups came out of Theosophy. So, you know, we need to wake up, pay attention, quit having other people tell us what we need to think and believe, and don't respond to the charge of that makes us feel humiliated. We need to stand up for what we believe.
That's right. Exactly. Move forward. Have a great week coming up, Dr. Blaylock, and we will continue to track what's happening and hopefully get you back on a routine basis. Thank you so much, Dr. Blaylock.
Thank you, Alan. God bless you.
God bless you. Well, there he goes. I'm going to come back with even more overdrive, folks, because I've got to get to John Bound's report and a bunch of other news I haven't gotten to. But that was a really quick 3 hours today. And I've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. But we're going to come back and get to this other news and then get to the fact people are waking up to the fact that Obama and the executive is becoming an open dictatorship. But at the top, the so-called atheists are not atheists, folks. They're worshiping the devil. In the last 50 years, iodine has been phased out of our staple foods and replaced with the halogen bromine, a practice now banned in nations around the world. Guess what else is in the halogen family? Fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here. In 1924, the federal government did the right thing and encouraged salt producers to add iodine. It's the good halogen on the periodic table. And the results are on record. Reports documented a 15-point IQ increase in areas that had previously been deficient in iodine. Bottom line, iodine is important. Unbound, clean, in a glycerin base. Nascent iodine was the answer for myself and my family. You will find Survival Shield Nascent Iodine exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWars Life Survival Shield Nascent Iodine isn't just for emergencies. I take it every day. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
Okay, yeah, I'm ready. Okay, yeah. Stop that. Oh, well, you're killing me. Okay. They want me to dress up like Santa. My thoughts? What's this gonna prove? They want to remind you about the holiday special. So here it is. Buy a month's supply of Life Change tea and get 2 extra weeks free. Get some free tea in the holiday spree. Oh my goodness. Lose weight and don't become the size of Santa. Oh, who wrote this? Buy 1 month, get 2 weeks free. That's the best sale of the year. So go to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Or you can call us at 928-308-0408. Come on, new people. 928-308-0408. And all of you that have ordered the tea, thank you for this year. We love you guys. Yeah, we know. You love us too.
Hi,
Hi, this is Steve Sanchez, and based on a recent study, it was found that 57 million Americans had legal issues over the last 12 months, but only 60% of those studied sought out the services of a lawyer. Why? In a nutshell, affordability. Well, my friends at Legal Shield have created a solution that can help you not if, but when you need an attorney. For as little as $17 per month, Legal Shield will provide you unlimited access to qualified attorneys at an accomplished law firm for advice and counsel on legal issues, no matter how serious or trivial. For over 40 years and with 1.4 million families across North America, Legal Shield can help you, the loyal GCN listener. Representatives are standing by now to answer your questions, so call them now at 1-855-340-SAVE. That's 1-855-340-7283, or visit them at lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
You know, I could say that I'm a self-made man, but my ancestors, with God's creation, built me, they built you, they built us all, and we stand on their shoulders. And I'm not going to let my children down in future generations. We've got to beat this slow march of collectivism that steals our resources and puts it into the central controllers so they can try to play God. And talking to Blaylock, because he's so informed, it really freaks me out, because I know most of the stuff he's talking about. I know he's telling the truth, and I can hear the pain in his voice for his children, grandchildren, and everybody else. I mean, this is really bad, folks. It was Judge Napolitano at one of his private talks, you know, that talked about we should be grieving for America like a wake. I mean, this is a big deal. But it's all done with slick advertising, packaging, and the rest of it. And all I do is seek out ways to tell the truth, be the most accurate, be the most honorable. And that's why you constantly hear, I'm dishonorable, I'm bad, and of course none of us are perfect, but I consciously try to be the best person I can. And it's because that's what the world wants. They want me to be bad like they are. They need that. They need that to feel good about themselves. When I figure out that people are bad and weak, it doesn't make me feel better that they're weak. So that's how the elitists think. It makes me feel bad that my human Confederates are in so much trouble and so twisted, and the betrayals, I mean, they are just daily. And it is just so amazing. Society is going crazy, and every manager, every person I talk to, people in criminal justice, people in the medical field, people in teaching, in industry, they say society is going crazy because it's unnatural. All the televisions and iPads and the GMO and the chemicals and the weird messages they're giving people and the subliminals. I mean, folks are screwed up. Get outside, exercise, pray. Even if you don't believe in God, it shows to raise your brain waves, get you to a higher state of literal physical brain waves. Try to get healthy. None of us are perfect. Try to forgive all the really screwed up bad people out there and just think of the good that was in them and try to think of that. But with the truly conscious evil, see, if somebody's kind of mentally ill and screwed up and attacks me, but still does some good work, I can forgive them and, you know, try to help them along. And I can tell when somebody's just really breaking down and mentally ill. But when you're looking at cold-blooded scientific evil that literally sees you in a predatory light, they've got to be dealt with. And that goes for the globalists and their whole system and all the people below them that try to, like, play into that system and see how the elite get ahead so they think they'll get ahead in a tribal way if they do like the alpha dog. The alpha dogs that are in control are in a different set of rules where they're exempt from the law, at least to a certain level. Culturally, they're not. Spiritually, they're not. They just think they are. But for the general public, corruption and fraud is not the way to go. Now, it's not corruption and fraud if it's unjust taxes and corrupt regulations. You've got to decide what you're going to do to resist that. And more I realize it is criminal to comply with unconstitutional garbage and the social control. So I am what you could say being radicalized because I'm not radical. They're saying an ad about a Marine coming home to his family is offensive. Him pulling up to his house, hugging his wife and baby. The NFL says you can't air that, but we can, see Illuminati rituals. Because to them, that is bad. That is a healthy, good group that's together and cohesive, that isn't slaves. You think slave masters want the image of a man with a woman and a baby and free? That image must be eradicated. I'm going to get to the really big news here in a moment. Briefly, just talking about sponsorship. We believe from our research, this is the very best fluoride and heavy metal, you name it, the whole write-ups at InfoWarsLife.com. We believe this is the best system out there, and I've been taking it for a few months while it was being developed, the test batches and things that were done, and I'm really feeling the difference personally. Unlike any other, quote, supplements I've ever used, there's a lot of great ones out there. A lot of the great ones are at InfoWarsHealth.com, the whole longevity line. But this particular Fluoride Shield dietary supplement detox system with the 6 ingredients, the zeolites, the organic tamarind, organic fulvic acid, this special compound that comes from the Himalayan mountains. It literally oozes out of the rocks, the shilajit, I always pronounce it wrong, organic cilantro. It is the highest quality, and we really spared no expense in this, and we give it a very, very competitive, low price. And then there's also the super male vitality, all the estrogen garbage and the plastics and trying to feminize men. And I just got to be honest with you, this is rocket fuel, and I would tell you, consult a physician and be careful about how you use it. I personally only take it really a few days a week and a lower dose of it, just because I already have a real temper problem, obviously. But the issue is that this is, I said, we're talking about the whole estrogen thing, and he goes, listen, I'm developing, the ultimate, and do you want to put it out? And I said, absolutely. So that's Dr. Gribb's Super Male Vitality Dietary Supplement, available at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling 888-253-3139. And both of these were the first batches because they literally couldn't get enough of the materials at his standard of quality. He won't use dry herbs and stuff like that, and has to have it all triple certified, which is great, but it almost becomes, just, I mean, I guess it's good. I guess you're either obsessed with total quality or then you don't have total quality, but it's very frustrating not even be able to get you enough of this. And of course, that's the classic sales pitch. We don't have a lot of this. Watch, this will be sold out for 4 to 6 weeks. This stuff will sell out in a couple days at the rate it's selling, and that's good because it funds our operation. We don't have enough of it to sell to fund the operation. I don't like having to spend all my time trying to raise money, but I don't get money, $500 million a year, whatever it is, like NPR, and billions to the parent companies, MSNBC, and stimulus and bailout money. We don't get any of that. In fact, my moral standards are so high that I had a lot of good sponsors, and we have a few still that are good enough to be on, but I just can't deal with it anymore. I just told the whole sales staff, sorry, just I'm letting you go, and I'm just not going to have sales anymore. I'm going to sell high quality products and try to find other sponsors that are good enough. I just can't mess with it. So anyways, that's how we fund ourselves, InfoWarsLife.com, or call 888-253-3139. 888-253-3139. And we have, of course, the Survival Shield, highest quality nation iodine as well. I want to thank you all for your prayers for the operation and everything you do. I want to thank you all for putting up with me. Lord knows I'm not perfect. I want to thank the great crew and everything they've done. Here's the article. Expert testifies to Congress that Obama ignoring laws could lead to overthrow of government. But it's not just this one expert. John Bound found more of the hearings where they're talking about all of this. And it's not that an overthrow could happen. We've had foreign corporations lobby for COG to be set up, shadow government, under continuity, and then now they've overthrown the system. They have overthrown the central government. Now they're trying to overthrow the states, the individual, the family, our health, our bank accounts to make us dependent. And they write books on Agenda 21, the White House science czar, about the plan. It's not like I just figured all this out on my own. They think you're so dumb, they write books about their criminal activity. So here's John Bound's piece, and then We'll go into rebroadcast, but here is the piece on America. We've already become a dictatorship. Here it is.
The cogent rhetoric of revolution hung heavy in the air in the nation's capital overnight.
There is one last thing to which the people can resort if the government does not respect the restraints that the Constitution places on the government. Abraham Lincoln talked about our right to alter our government, or a revolutionary right to overthrow it. And that is certainly something that no one wants to contemplate.
The House Judiciary Committee heard from a panel of legal scholars on the constitutionality and legality of actions taken by the Obama administration, focusing on the feeble mandates in the Affordable Care Act and the enforcement of the short-sighted immigration laws.
We have to repair a broken immigration system. And that this progress is only possible when we do it together.
If you can dispense with immigration laws or marijuana laws or mandatory minimums, can you also dispense with election laws?
Again, I think we've gone over this ground many times.
Well, it's human. Let's do it one more time. Can the president suspend election laws?
No.
Why not? If he can suspend mandatory minimum and immigration laws, why not election laws?
Because we live in a government of laws, and the president is bound to obey them and apply them.
There was a fight with James I about what was called the royal prerogative. It's very similar to what President Obama is claiming, the right of the king to essentially stand above the law.
The growing assertion of power by this president to do things to change laws, that's not his responsibility. That's the Congress's clearly delegated responsibility to write the laws. But even with Obamacare, his signature legislation, when he finds things in it that he doesn't like, he rewrites the law, even though the law itself doesn't give him any authority to do that.
George Washington Law School professor Jonathan Turley weighed in on the perishing of the legislative branch.
Is that it's not only being circumvented, but it is also being denied the ability to enforce its inherent powers. Many of these questions are not close in my view. The president is outside the line. But it has to go in front of a court, and that court has to grant review. And that's where we have the most serious constitutional crisis I view in my lifetime. And that is, this body is becoming less and less relevant.
Clearly, a criminal administration is holding our highest seats of power hostage. When will the government of the people, by the people, for the people, wield the hammer of justice rather than simply discuss the laundry list of tyranny in the nation's capital? For the InfoWars Nightly News, John Bound reporting.
In the last 50 years, iodine has been phased out of our staple foods and replaced with the halogen bromine, a practice now banned in nations around the world. Guess what else is in the halogen family? Fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here. In